We'll call our meeting to order at 7:01. So we will review the agenda for addition, removal, or adjustment of any items per VSA 312.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Darla, I see that Bill Mount is here from the Boy Scouts, it's probably about to die down, and I didn't see that here on the agenda.
Correct, yeah, I suggested in my notes that now,
Okay.
if we're prepared to bring that up, this would be an opportunity to add it to the agenda.
And where would you add that, Valerie?
About 3A before we get started. No, that's under consent. I don't care.
Yeah, the consent agenda would not be,
No.
unless there's no discussion, then that's like,
No, I got
consent
something to
agenda
say.
would not be the right place to do it.
You have a question? Or
You want to
have
just do it,
Do it.
you want to just do it on as the first thing on our regular business, since Bill's here in the audience?
Yeah, why not?
Because I think it'll be a fairly short,
It'd be A1. So
Yeah,
we'll just-
A1, 1A, however you wanna put it. Okay,
All right, anything else, Valerie?
not for me.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
All right, public forum. This is an opportunity for citizens to briefly share comments and concerns with the board about matters not already on the agenda. Public forum should not be used for lengthy discussion of a new topic, both for time management of the meeting and to allow for the public to receive notice of a matter on a future agenda. So about 5 minutes. Is there anyone here for public forum this evening?
Just like Beth Eckers, I'd just like to ask Darla if the information that we had given at the last meeting was given, or to the DRB, or they know anything about what we handed in for the notes.
That information was not provided to the Development Review Board, but it is attached to the minutes of the meeting as requested.
Okay.
Thanks, Beth. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Moving on to department head roundtable. This is an opportunity for department heads to briefly share information that may be of interest to the select board and the public about one or more topics. And we ask that you take no more than 5 minutes. So let's see, how about we start with Eric while you're right here?
One more, okay, I'm gonna be on vacation for 2 weeks, they're drawing sand, they're ditching, we're done.
That was under 5 minutes. Thank you. Any
You almost
questions?
did the 5 seconds.
I know.
It's gonna be tough for Bruce to beat.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've got things lined up for the guys for the next 2 weeks to do. I'll be gone North Carolina, but if anybody needs me, just call, I can answer
Pete was in
questions.
charge when you were gone.
Peter said he would definitely help me out, so he's gonna help out when he can and stuff, so.
When are you
I
gonna
think
start
I've gotten
mowing?
there, huh?
When are you gonna start mowing?
Mowing what?
Yeah.
Been mowing.
Side, roadsides?
Yeah, we've been for the last
We'll get yours by
2 weeks.
We mow right in front of our lawn, so.
Yeah, the only problem is we try to get the pavement all done first and then move out to the dirt, so the dirt's usually end up being last. But that's pretty much it for now.
Thanks. Any questions for Eric? All right, thank you. We don't have anybody else in the office. Okay, so let's see, Bruce.
So we had a very busy Saturday with 2 events going on. Wasn't too bad. The parking could have been better for the yard sale, but we got through it okay. Next week with 4th of July and the 4th of July parade and fireworks, again, we're going to ask people to be courteous and cautious when they're coming through town, and please do not park blocking somebody's driveway or fire hydrants.
Under 5 minutes, thank you.
She was timing you, Bruce.
I wasn't, but I do have my timer ready. So, thanks, Bruce. Jill?
Things that won't be in the budget meeting are just that the water read is just about done. We've got a couple to go back and find because they were hidden And then hopefully they'll be able to get everything to square up. There are some computer issues with the handheld being able to get the data over into NEMRIC, which isn't surprising. It's been an ongoing issue. And with the water bill, we'll go out the line inventory questionnaire for all of the property owners that we hope we get a really good response back on as a preliminary before we start to do really heavy on-site meetings with everybody. And we're probably going to send back out the reminder to keep their touchpads uncovered, since there's been just tons of plantings in front of everything and the touchpads inaccessible in over a quarter of the properties. So it's a pretty big ongoing issue that we're having. We did start to document and take pictures of the ones that are just like beyond inaccessible. But I know we sent it out in December, and I think we'll send it again just to remind people, and leave it up to you guys to exercise when you want to start issuing fines.
Thanks, Jill.
Yep.
Any questions for Jill? Those will come later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. I think that's everybody, right? We don't have anybody else on Zoom? Okay. So off we go to the water department budget. Valerie, where should we start?
I'm gonna turn it over to Jill, because Jill, Anthony, and I spent a fair amount of time this morning. In fact, I'm surprised he's not signed in yet. Something must have come up for him. We spent a fair amount of time this morning really scouring the information that we had available, and Jill's emailed out very late this afternoon basically a summary of what we came up with. So folks may have it in your emails, but she's also got, she's gonna share it on her screen. And so I'll turn it over to Jill.
Oh, you're muted, Jill.
Yeah, I made you a co-host.
Okay, just pop the folder opened.
And it's good news, by the way.
Yes, I would have to say Anthony and Valerie really had to push very, very hard internally and externally to get some answers that really were unclear. And they really did get answers, thank goodness, because it wasn't looking so hot last time we looked at it. So here and right here. Okay. I'll stop recording. Is the share at the top or the bottom?
The bottom, the little green carrot.
It's because it's green. It doesn't even jump out at me. All right, and Ian, which thing do I pick? Desktop?
If you have your document open, you can pick the document if you see it.
I'll go desktop because there's two that we want to pick.
Okay, that sounds work.
Okay, that way it won't kick everybody out. Okay.
Let's find out.
Okay, here we go. All right. We'll go spreadsheet first. And okay, this is the good news. So I'm going to open one other document so that I'm not talking from just my memory, but I'm talking from actual documentation. So what Anthony found was, I'll just scooch down to the page here, and then we'll zoom in so that you guys see what I see. He found $38,380.90 of capital reserve for sewer.
You gotta scooch up just a little bit. We can't see the bottom of the red. There you go.
How's that? So this area right here, it's still really kind of blurry just because the way the printer works, I think, and then scanning. That's an 8. It just looks like a 3 blob, 380.90, but that blob is an 8. So what we were able to do was to take 2 capital improvements this year, which was replacing the 90-degree pipe into the splitter box and clearing the edge of the site, which are capital improvements, out of this budget and out of the regular expenditures, and then put in the allocated 7810 from the budget. So we went from 38 down 13 and then up 78. So we're at 33 in this capital reserve fund after this year's budget. So to me, it's like, okay, great. that made that fit. So then you guys will know kind of in your head, there's 33 left in the capital reserve. We started at 38, used 13, and then put 78 back in. So we end at 33 there, and then we'll get back to the spreadsheet. So that puts us at actual revenues. We knew we were going to come around 47. We did. 47,171, and that's as of 6/26/23. And I could make this bigger too.
Good, because that was much lower the last time we looked at this.
Yeah. Yep, it was, and it was more distance between reality and guessing, which I'm not the biggest fan of budget guessing. So that's real. So we had budgeted 56,847. Flows and fees were not such. So another thing I'd like to reveal to you guys is in doing this exercise, I had asked Anthony and Sharon, can you just open up the spreadsheet that is the sewer billing and just show me how the spreadsheet calculates the fees? And we're like, what had we had for budget increases over the past several years and how had that been processed into billing? So we could see from 2019 that there was a fee increase that took the, if they went over a particular flow, there was $100 rate. And if they went over their allocation, there was a $200. So that had gone into the spreadsheet. What hadn't gone into the spreadsheet was the 5% fee increase. So that hadn't been reflected since 2019, even though it was voted on. That never got updated. So that structure, I'm just gonna.
But meanwhile, we were budgeting with
Yes.
the expectation that it had been.
So you mean it wasn't being charged?
Correct.
Correct.
Bill.
Right. So we still had the minimum charge at $173.28 a quarter for up to 100 gallons of average daily flow. The usage charge had gone up to $100 a quarter for every 100. And the usage surcharge in excess had gone up to $200 every quarter for every 100 of gallons in excess. So the excess charges, like the usage and excess charges were working properly, but the minimum base charge was not. So that, and we also found that in 2019, there was an approved 2.1% rate increase that had
2022, last year.
Okay, that had never been put into the actual rates. So no wonder we were underbilling. Like we kept going, where's the revenue? Because I only saw a 6% change in flows. And I know that Peaker had mentioned that, hey, maybe it's just that people are using less and that they're not hitting as much of this usage charge and surcharge, which is partially true, but it's also that the minimum charge didn't go up as it was supposed to in 2019 or 2022. So
we're like 7% behind?
yeah, 7.21 to be exact.
So you were worried about doing a whatever percent increase, and now they're gonna get double whammy.
Or not.
Well,
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Hold that
here,
thought.
so when we apply those two, the base rate goes from 173.28 a quarter to 185.37 a quarter. And we've made that change in the spreadsheet. So that should, because the formula that's in here, if you guys can see it up in here, it's taking this number, which is 47,171, which is actuals, which is really what people are being billed right now, and multiplying it times 1.0721, which is that 7.21%. So that gets us to 50,572. That doesn't quite get us to the budget that we need to actually afford all of this year's expenses. We need about 56,720. So what we could do is bill the 4 grease trap owners. No kidding. It's now every 2 months. I did look through the actual billings. Valerie had pulled them together individually from Clark Wrights, and then Anthony provided me the spreadsheet that's kind of got everything that's under maintenance and septic tanks, so I could see, okay, how often is this billing and what's the amount? So every 2 months, there's $1,008, which is, after taxes and fees, $252 per, and I'm going to clarify, 2 are grease traps, 2 are dosing siphons, and I'll have to double check locations because they're not on the bill. I believe it's covers, snaps, hendies, and vanes. Those, the covers and the snaps are grease traps, and the hendies and the vanes are dosing siphons.
What's veins?
Vanes is an apartment building at the bottom of South Street. Well, before the bridge on South Street. There's a
Now,
dosing.
what is the other thing you said?
Before the bridge.
So covers and snaps are grease
Dosing?
traps.
Dowsing siphon, yeah.
They're dosing
What's that?
siphon chambers, so they're kind of like sort of like a septic tank, but what they do is they fill to a certain level. And when they
They're
get
like a big toilet.
big giant toilet, yes, we have them at the septic field as well. So there's 2 of them up at basically at the top of the hill that dose the flow. One behind, I think maybe it's like South Mountain now. One behind South Mountain, that kind of big brown building, and then one behind the Vanes apartment. So those 2, they fill to a certain level and then they dose to the sewer field.
They flush.
Yeah, they flush. Yep, big toilets. So that's actually how, after it goes through the septic tanks and settles out at the sewer field, it goes to the splitter bots and it splits out to the 4 active leach fields via dosing siphons, chambers with dosing siphons, which are more big giant toilet tanks.
So
you
those
have in the-
dosing, sorry, so
No,
those
go
dosing
ahead.
siphons, there's no way to drain those ahead of time before it goes down to the field?
I don't know what you mean.
No,
Okay.
no, they can't,
Short answer.
they can't be pumped
They
ahead of
can't be
time like a
pumped,
grease
okay.
trap. They can be pumped, but it's not gonna amount to anything.
Okay.
So
Because every
those
time
ones-
they flush, everything goes.
So
Do
those
they, do
ones-
they,
Covers and some Shaw's you said had grease traps?
No
Snaps.
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 Shaw's,
Don't we have
Shaw's
more
is-
than just 2? We have more than just 2 grease traps.
We have 4.
those are the 4 externals, and that's what, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I have to double check the locations.
So Jill, what is your remedy for the ones that are internal? We don't know whether they're getting pumped or not, and so we don't know whether that's flowing right by and out of sight, out of mind, it's going down to our waste field.
So that
Like
remedy,
Shaw's.
that remedy, I don't believe can be solved tonight. I think that remedy is gonna take what I would call some science, okay? It's gonna take some discovery and some science, is actually looking to see what they physically have, documenting what they physically have, doing some sampling, understanding through composite sampling how much loading is coming to our system. We know the flow, right? Water in, sewer out. What we don't know is how much BOD and TSS and fats, oils, and greases is loading in through each connection, and if that's even anywhere near acceptable for our sewer system to receive. So
Okay,
to me,
to treat everybody fairly, if they say, well, no, I'm not gonna show you our system, I'm not picking on any of them, but if they say no, how do we get that information to make an assessment that, hey, your grease is headed our way and we gotta stop it?
So we already have the language in our tariff to do that because they connected to our sewer system. If we needed to, we could provide other language. I don't know how non-cooperative people are gonna be because it's in their best interest for the sewer system to be protected and them to continue to have a connection. So I mean, my initial feeling, having worked in Bristol for as many years as I have, is that most people are quite friendly. And that most people are quite grateful as well. So I don't get the sense that I'm gonna have non-cooperation. I think it's gonna be more of just trying to make sure that there's consistency in the method so that it's done fairly.
so looking at that,
Shaw's doesn't have a grease trap?
I've never seen it. Shaw's has a big honking tank just outside those back doors that I've seen pumped out. I don't know. I haven't seen the construction of it.
but in our investigations, what we're gonna do is, as Jill said, I think we're gonna monitor candidates that we feel may need to be monitored because of what's coming out of their systems, and Shaw's will probably be one of those.
It's probably the largest one because it's the one that
Right.
likely has the most fried food going on.
Right.
Very
And we're looking at like the
consistent.
highest flow rates and discharge rates to sort of determine who we might want to monitor, just to see what's happening with our system or what's going into our system.
The
I had a
minimum,
question. So
yeah.
you've got the 1,008, which the town currently pays 6 times
That's
a year.
exactly $6,048, yes.
Okay, so you're proposing that 6,048 is divided among the 4 current grease trap owners, is that correct?
That's a proposal. That's
Okay.
one. The other proposal,
An
again,
idea.
going for simplicity, was to just simply increase the rates 10%, which would be taking this number right here and go 1.1721.
Okay, but that affects all of the users versus just grease trap users, is that correct?
Very specifically, those that the sewer system is currently paying for this specific service dollar for dollar.
Okay,
Do we know that like, you know, when I'm looking, it says 1,008 times 6 times annually, or is that, however you figured out the 648, is that gonna be the current price for this upcoming budget? Do we know that number's right?
yeah,
Here's the thing is that they bring it to Middlebury. I don't know that Middlebury has had a rate change. I can't control if Middlebury wastewater facility changes their septic receiving fee, and I can't control if Arkwright increases their trucking fee. So,
Yeah,
But we can control, you mentioned 4, they're on the list, but we know other restaurants in town that are not, got grease traps, so, but they are, you would think, I'm not gonna put words in their mouth, are creating grease. I'm not sure it's the 4 grease trap owners that are they're letting us pump them out, or we're doing it, should bear the whole cost, when other restaurants have got grease flowing down us, but we don't know whether they're pumping them or not.
There's a way to distinguish that, and that is that the system is specifically paying extra money to pump out 4 specific exterior tanks.
so those 4, what we physically
Pay.
directly.
No, but we
understand that.
physically pump them out,
Yeah.
those specific grease traps.
Right.
Do we pump 4 grease traps, or do we pump 2 grease traps and 2 dousing siphons?
That's exactly what I learned today, is that 2 of them are grease traps and 2 of them are dosing siphons. I had a
So
deep
why
discussion with
are we
them.
pumping the dosing siphons?
It was explained to me that they're catching grease and sludge in the bottoms.
I think we have a little bit more homework to do on that, because on a spreadsheet I have from a couple of years ago, and we've been going with the number 4 exterior, and we've been billed for 4 exteriors. I have 31 Main Street, 24 Main Street, 14 Main Street, and 8 Main Street. And that South Street one, it's not listed. I mean, it's on the spreadsheet, but it's not among those that are being billed, apparently.
So I
'Cause
guess,
it-
we'll
because
just,
it-
like I said, we'll have to get more specific on which ones those are. I don't follow them around for that.
Because if the grease floats, it's not gonna settle to the bottom.
Right.
Yeah, and
And
if
the siphons dump, when the
Flush from the
siphons
bottom.
dump, they dump everything.
that's true, because I've seen them empty, the ones at the
That
sewer
was sort of
field.
my question before.
Right.
So I guess it doesn't totally make sense as far as which
Yeah,
ones
we
they
still
are.
have some, but we know that there are 4 that we get billed for.
But
Right, and I guess
we
like-
have more than 4 grease traps in town, it's just only 4 that we're
Exterior
actually.
ones that are
Exterior that we're
accessible
pumping.
from the exterior, right?
And
Well,
that's
not
why-
That's
just
probably the
not-
distinction, because they're accessible.
Okay.
well, it's not just accessible, it's the ones that the town empties. The other grease traps are internal, and those are by private businesses. These ones are under town control.
Yeah, but the ones internal still get dumped to our septic field.
I mean, if
If
they're
they
not
can't
pumping them out, there's only one business in town who's got an internal that's actually providing documentation that they're having it pumped out regularly.
Right.
Everybody else has not.
I think that's part of the compliance thing that we have to.
Right. Well,
Right.
I think part of this too is like, if we want to pass this budget tonight, we have to agree on how we want to get the budget to where it needs to be. What we're talking about is a much larger discussion and an investigation in how our system runs and why certain things are done and who needs to come into compliance and who needs to be monitored. For this evening, I think the question before us is, do we split it, that 6,048, between 4 property owners, or do we do a small budget percentage change to the user fees to accommodate that 6,048?
Yep. It would be an additional 10% across all fees, because if you only do it on the base rate, you're not gonna make up $6,000. You're gonna make up part of it, but not the whole
Yeah.
thing, and then you're gonna be short again and wonder what happened.
So
Jill,
we would go up 17% if we did that.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, well, because people
I mean,
actually haven't
we've already gone
experienced
up
their new
the-
bill.
That's right.
Jill, did you have time to do that exercise we talked about of calculating, taking 2 or so sample bills and calculating what that actual change would be in dollars? Like, would it be $25 per quarter or?
I
more
don't
than
have the
that?
bill, that billing spreadsheet is held by Sharon, I don't have it.
Okay.
We
Because
could,
it would be helpful to know how that compares to, that cost increment. It's say, for example, if it is $25 per quarter, that's equivalent maybe to a pizza, how.
I don't know,
how
my
you-
gut
Well-
feeling here is that not everybody needs to pay for the 4 grease traps that we have developed. And I think the
Well,
4
it's-
grease trap owners that we do pump, they should pay for those fees.
Well, what about the ones that aren't being pumped, or we don't know if they're being pumped inside? I mean,
That's-
we need documentation that they're being done. If we're
Yeah, but
gonna,
at this point,
if
we
we're
don't
gonna
have the
charge these,
information.
if we're gonna charge these other 4,
Mhm.
we need to make sure that everybody that's got them is doing their part.
Well, that's a bigger discussion, but this is the data that we have
Right.
right now, that,
Exactly.
the facts that we have.
Yeah.
I'm basing my information on the facts that I have. I can't say what if.
Mhm.
I have to wait until Jill gets the information, or we get more information on those internal grease traps.
Because
So,
the 1,008 could change, so we do some investigation, and a year from now, it's revealed that we need to pump, or there needs to be external grease traps on 2 other properties, let's say. And so that 1,008 is going to increase, and then at that time, that charge goes to the property owners, the 2 new or 3 new that are added.
Right.
But for now, I think Michelle's right. We're looking at this number. We know who it's for. It's an additional fee that the town is paying for those particular properties. And so it seems very clear that we could split that cost between them, since it's an additional thing that no other property has, apart
right,
from these
so
4 at the moment.
10% of your base rate is another 10% added to your base rate is $16.34. I don't have the spreadsheet that Sharon has that's got all each individual property, and then kind of what their use was for that month, what their allocation was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know which ones hit the extra 100 and 200. I can tell you that what I saw from the exercise that I did, which was generic without the rate structure, that there was only 1 or 2 that even ever went over their allocated flow. So it didn't look like all that much was going to be in the usage surcharge or over, like the usage surcharge for overages for their average daily flow. But it's like we're missing anything to do with organics. So $16.34 is what the base charge would go up for everybody, which if we divide it by 3 is $5.44 a month. We times it by 3, it's $16.34. It would go from what it currently is supposed to be, which is $185.37. It is really been seen as $173.28 because the previous increases weren't processed. So it's technically going from $173.28 a quarter to $185.37 a quarter, which should be retroactive, but I guarantee we're not moving backwards from here. And then if it went up another 10%, it would go to $201.71. So like each user is going to experience about $28 a quarter of increase from 2 previous budget approvals and this particular one if you do 10%.
Yeah, but I have to agree with Michelle, other people shouldn't be paying for those grease traps to be pumped.
That was my thought.
So that's what, $1,500 a user?
252
$375 or something like that a quarter.
Yeah.
252 times 6 is $15.12 a year. Yeah, because they're
How's
pumping.
that
it
another
months.
$100 and something a month?
Yeah, if you divide by 12, it's like 125, isn't it? 126.
So
Yeah.
they'll
I
need
mean,
some
it-
sort of communication to go to those users.
I mean, I approve the bottom line, but I don't, my point is, I know there's one business on the south side, you said, shows you his record every month that he has his grease trap. If they can't, these
Non-conforming.
non-conforming ones can't show us their billing,
Can we find them?
they ought to be in this somewhat, maybe not,
Well, I think we have to give them, I mean, I know we've done the letters out to them saying you need to do this, but I think now we have to do that follow-through that says, you haven't provided us documentation, if you don't do it within 30 days, then we're gonna start charging you a fine of what it would take for us to come in and do, you know, whatever it is, to pump it, have us pump it, which is whatever. You know, I don't know if you know that number, Jill, but, you know,
Do we
we're
have
paying
that
whatever it is for the external, it's gotta be about the same
Right.
for internal.
No, they're a lot
So the
smaller.
externals,
Okay.
yeah, the externals are 750 gallons. I imagine that the internals are more like 50 gallons or 100 gallons. So it would probably be, you know, maybe they have a base charge just because they had to enter the building and put their hose all the way through and la 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 la. I don't know if it's a cost per gallon or if it's just a bit like a, because I don't
You
see
have-
the amounts.
You have the receipts from the person who was getting them pumped. Can you give us an idea from that?
I will ask to look at it again. And I can give you an idea of what that is, because I can't ask the provider, I can ask the business.
But I mean, we gotta enforce it. I mean, if there's no enforcement on it, they're not gonna do it.
Right.
Correct.
And if we're gonna make the others pay, we gotta make sure
Right.
that everybody is pumping theirs.
They're being in
Right,
compliance and
equally.
they're pumping it, yeah.
There needs to be a
Exactly.
way to
And
follow
pumping
that.
means that that nasty grease goes to a digester or something, or wherever it needs to get disposed of and not to the septic system. It's specifically removed before it can discharge to our system. So that's the income side. I wanted to go over the expense side because the actuals have been updated. And based on the updated actuals, I've updated the expense side as well, since they're real numbers. So admin and clerical salaries, I was told was really a proration that goes to sewer and a proration to water. So this is just updating it for this year. I should probably make that actually another $50.
Yeah, basically 2% of my time, 2% of Sharon's time, I believe 2% of Anthony's time gets allocated to water and sewer.
Yeah, so I'm gonna add 50 because I don't want to have that be unbalanced. And so it's just carrying these. So this should actually be 230. Okay, so health insurance, that goes up like crazy every year. So I'm sure when you guys renew in your year that, so I don't want to leave that low. Retirement, I didn't see anything carried in this year, but it was in previous years. So I'm a bit uncomfortable not putting something there. Disability insurance, but there, the operating contract was fixed. There was a water operations bill that was stuffed in there by mistake, which is why that looked all wacky last time. The supplies, there were additional supplies bought this year. This was probably just because of all the repairs that were done. Let's see, insurance. This is huge to me. In your past years, your insurance was like $100, $53, $200, $205. It went to $819. So you had a 400% increase in your insurance cost. Although it's just $600, it's just kind of wild to me that the insurance cost would go up 400%.
Is that property insurance we're talking about?
Yeah, it went up 11% across the board, then there might have been some individual adjustments.
So
That's
I just
the
found that
VLCT.
to be kind of extraordinary, but I don't control.
That's
it.
your,
Is that for
VLCT?
VLCT?
Correct.
Look, they're making a killing.
That's what I thought. Like, wow, they keep getting all these tours.
they can't burn.
Okay, here's,
Somebody else must have a high claim rate. We're paying the
Right.
price.
yeah, exactly. So here's our super shiny, beautiful spot is that this debt retirement of 12,500 is the last payment on this loan.
Okay.
This was from your the building of this septic system. So that's your last bond payment, and then this zeroes out. So I think that's fantastic because it makes it so that there's more flexibility in future years to make improvements that need to be made or administer whatever kind of program needs to be administered, etc. I did kind of put the little bit of play into the capital reserve fund, which is 1,069. Maintenance and septic tank, I looked at the specific expenses from this year. they're 17,026.94. Right there, the 17, and we need to pump the septic tank twice, which is $6,500 each time. So 23,750 gets us 2 pumps of the septic tank, the 6 times a year of the external grease traps, the 4 times a year of the splitter box. And if I already said it, 2 times of emptying the septic tank. And then there's a little bit in this same item, just so that you guys know the back end of this is the lawn mowing. That good stuff is in there. And yeah, and if we end up with a clog and we have to jet, that's in there. So that's kind of like the comfortable number there is the 23,750, given that we need to pump twice this fiscal year. There might
So
be other.
Jill, the one behind it, 17,027, that was only pumped once?
That was
Is that
literally only pumped once, and it was on.
Okay, that's why it's lower, okay.
Yeah, yep, 8/24/22, 6,472.
Okay.
So we know that we have to do it twice. It's horrible right now. The minute you pass this budget and it's July 1st, I'm gonna call to have it done because it's super gross and disgusting and thick.
You might wanna tee that up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's so gross. And it was definitely in the engineer's report, to get it done as soon as possible. And I wasn't really comfortable given that this budget for our current fiscal year looked horrible. But it needs to be done from a like taking care of it perspective. And then testing, I carried an extra 1,500 in this budget because in order to do this program of figuring out where the high strength wastes are coming from, we do have to do additional testing. Otherwise we'll have no idea. So I wanted to carry some in there since that's not a capital expenditure. That's definitely more of that's a testing expenditure. I carried engineering at 25 since this year was like 2473. I didn't think we needed to carry it at 3,300. And your capital reserve fund has 33,000-ish left. And the things that I would see coming up this year would be rebricking the structure that's rotting out, that's been in the report for 2 or 3 years now, and trying to get a composite sampler that we can use to start to take samples and figure out where that high strength waste is coming from and work with those businesses to get some pre-treatment put in so that they are not killing the sewer system.
Any
Are your two
leads
bottom
on
lines
that?
the same, Jill?
Yeah. Oh, no, I gotta make $5.
Okay, I was gonna say, there's something.
Any leads on the composite sampler? You said you might be able to speak to someone.
Oop, I went the wrong way. I have one at one of my facilities that I might be able to borrow. So we just have to time it so.
Yeah.
Because I really only have to use it once or twice a month, which means I just need to understand if it can actually be put in a manhole. Because we have it very safe in a facility that's got heat and, a roof and it's got power. And I think I can't borrow that one because I can't run a generator in a manhole. So scratch that one. We'll have to talk to other, it was Vermont Rural Water that I was thinking. I wondered if
you mentioned something at the last meeting about a potential lead to borrow one.
That would be it, because they're like membership based and they might have things to loan out.
So what's the reason for lowering the capital reserve fund? I know it says placing balance of revenue versus expense in capital reserve fund, but why are we lowering that when we should be putting? I guess it's an expense versus got it. Well, no, because we're putting that in the fund. We don't want to lose that ability to put that in the fund, right?
Right. It's just that we put 7,800 in this past year, like the fiscal year that we're just about to close.
Yeah.
We put that in. We're going to need to increase rates even more. Right.
Got it.
So and I feel like we're already dancing on that, trying to be sensitive to people's bills, and it would have to put everybody's bills up another 10%. So we'd have to go up 20% on top of the 7.21 that hadn't been reflected. And the 10% that we could do, or the grease trap. So I'm just trying to be sensitive to not hitting. And also that 12.5 goes away next year.
I was gonna say, and the next year you'll have the 12.5 you can put in here.
Yeah.
So it's just a single year that we're sort of we're taking that down a little bit. Okay,
I don't know, just out of consideration of not overspending and not trying to tuck so much in
Yeah.
savings that we're hurting people on their bottom line.
right. Well, hopefully we can figure out why that our 2 increases weren't applied. We can have that not happen again. Because then it's less of a change for water district payers or sewer district payers, sorry. Okay,
Well,
yeah,
there was a lot
this
going
looks
on
good,
at
Jill.
that time, and with COVID and staff
Yep.
turnover and a bunch of other things, and it just fell through the cracks.
I was trying to
Right.
understand, where did Anthony find the 38 grand?
Did that come from the auditors?
Auditor's report.
Was it from the auditor's
talked with
report,
him
the
the other
38
night.
grand?
It was stuffed in a manhole
The
somewhere in town.
$38,000 is the capital.
Yes,
There he
maybe
is.
Anthony's on.
There he is.
Yeah, no, I've been here. I've just been quiet. And Jill's been doing a great job, so.
Aw.
No, that money is in the sewer capital fund account. That's the number we have in our books. And then I know that the auditors gave us an amount. What our number, the reason why our number is different is because we don't include the depreciation expense.
Okay.
Which is, if you guys, I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at draft figures from the audit, but
I didn't share them with the
yeah,
select
no,
board.
but our number doesn't include the depreciation, so
$14,000.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway, details.
Well, so this looks good, and I guess we just have to make a decision about how we want to have that $6,048 charge allocated.
Yeah, would you guys want to put it here to bill for grease trap owners directly, just direct fee? If it's $252, they get billed $252. If it goes to $260, they get billed $260. And it's this, otherwise we would need to put about a 10% increase there.
Yeah,
I think it goes there and we send a letter and make sure that the others are being pumped, and if they're not, we fine them.
You mean it goes there, the grease,
Yeah.
bill before grease
You
trap?
wanna
do
She
this
was
way?
up on the top one and I'm
No,
like, wait
yeah.
a minute.
yes.
Sorry, I knew there's probably like 30 different ways to go about it, but it's like, these are 2 just like simple, like one straight pathways to go about it.
Well, the other users shouldn't be paying for them to have their tanks pumped. Everybody pays for the septic tanks to be pumped because everybody goes into it.
That's right.
But the grease traps are business specific.
Mhm.
This is a question for Jill and Anthony. If this increase or adjustment is approved tonight, when does it take effect? At what billing does it take effect next?
I don't know when the bills go out for sewer. All I know is that the water bills go out each quarter and they're literally in months. Right.
The sewer bills are calculated slightly off. I'm pretty sure, I have to check with Sharon again because the spreadsheet, but I'm pretty sure if they haven't already gone out, the current ones, they'll go out with the water bills. When do you guys want this effective immediately, or would you want to start July 1st or?
July 1st, that's the budget.
Okay.
So I'll ask this simple question to the board and to Jill and Anthony. What if, and Valerie, what if the 4 grease trap owners said, I found another supplier that can do it cheaper and I'm gonna have my own, and here's the documentation?
As long as it's documented.
Well, it's in the town's owned stuff, so, right? They're external, so that's
That's why I asked that
that's
question. I don't know.
our stuff.
I'd be surprised if somebody would want to come just to do one. So, because I know that another owner that does their interior, it happens at the same time, but I don't know. I think we'd have to read over the tariff and the language.
But we're basing the budget on it. I'm just, if we got surprised and said, oh,
Well, if we didn't have the bill.
right, we wouldn't have the bill, we wouldn't,
Yeah, if the bill goes away, then we don't need the revenue to pay the bill because it went away.
I mean, I guess we could
If
offer
the
that.
bills, so if the bills haven't gone out, they'll include that 7% immediately, because that's.
We updated that spreadsheet today. We checked
So
and
the
double
next time
checked
the
the
bills go
formula.
out, that 7% will be in it.
Yep, 7.21, which,
So
I
the
mean,
only change will be billing those four for their grease traps.
yeah, and I think when you guys do
Right.
future budgets, like as you're moving in, maybe be sensitive to the thought about your base rate isn't gonna move your revenue up at the same rate if you're not considering your usage charge and your usage surcharge into that increase, because they work together. So like if you're only increasing your base rate 3% or 7%, that's not necessarily going to bring your revenues up 3 or 7% because your minimum charge doesn't represent 100% of your revenue. It's a little off, it's not, the ratio is not 100%. Just as a by the way.
But that 7% will generate that 50,000.
Presumably-ish. I mean, maybe not, because we didn't increase the usage charge or the surcharge. So like, I cannot say that it will, because it's not 100% of the revenue. It's hard to do it without without backing everything into the way that spreadsheet is built. I just
So
know
why
that
can't we
right
get-
now.
Why can't we get it 100% of the revenue? That calculation there?
You guys would just have to start making these changes to the minimum charge, the usage charge, and the usage surcharge at the same rate in order to get the same effect.
So our usage charge and whatever the other one is set, we'd have to increase that by 7.12 whatever percent as well in order to keep. Is that what you're saying, Jill?
Well, so when you did, well, yeah, because when you did the 2019, the usage charge did go up to 100 a quarter, and the surcharge did go up to 200 a quarter. This is again for above 100, and then for every 100 gallons above their average daily flow limit. So you would have to put that percentage across your minimum charge, your usage charge, and your surcharge for that percentage to hit as an equal proration.
So why don't we do that? Why aren't we doing that?
You
Michelle's
probably
asking,
do
why
need
don't we
to.
do that? What's that?
You probably should in future language. That's why I kind of put that the other option would be to increase your user fees being your minimum charge, your user charge, and your usage surcharge by 10%. And that way you would actually get 10% more. Because this might not be
So an
totally 57,572.
So an end user would see a 10% difference in their bill and not 7.
Well, they would, like, if we were doing it by the 7.1% increase that is currently in there, and you added the 7.1% to the usage and surcharge or whatever they are, only those that go over are gonna get that.
Okay.
You know, the base rate won't, they'll only have it once, but anybody who goes over will then get the additional
Gotcha.
increase.
Okay.
It's really tricky. The way that your billing structure is set up is harder to calculate without being able to do like live exercises. And even that, you're still guessing because the flows change based on water usage.
Right, so why do we have that then? Why can't we just have a set rate and it's dependent on whatever you use? Why do we have that overage charge? Because it seems like we can never figure out precisely what any amount of revenue or any part of that revenue coming in, because it might always change.
So I think the average daily flow limit overage is because your sewer system is only good for a certain number of gallons per day. And if a user starts going over their limit, and then everybody does that, you're over your flow limit and you're out of compliance with your permit. So it's like your rate structure is also trying to hold people accountable to using only what they've been allocated. If they use more to pay for it because it's technically overusing their allocation, which right now is just hydraulic and it's not organic. I know it's super complicated, and it will get more complicated with organics as well.
I mean, it seems like increasing all those the same seems like an easier path for us going forward. So I would support that.
Yeah.
And it's only gonna be a few high use users
Right,
that might go over.
right.
When you
And
say the same, are you talking about the 10% or the 7 point something percent?
So basically, you guys went to the 100 and the 200 on B and C inside of your schedule of rates and charges, but the 173.28 a quarter didn't go up 5% in 2019, and it didn't go up the 2.1% in 2021 or 22. So like your base charge is gonna go up to 187.37, but that second 2.1%, it technically should be applied also to the usage charge and the usage surcharge. So like the usage charge should go up to 102.10, and then the usage surcharge should go up to 204.20. Then it would be the 2.1% on all three elements from the last increase that you did, and then maybe we'd be closer to that 55.72.
I mean, it seems like that's our only way forward if we want to get the revenue that we need to support this system.
Right, because when you guys say that you're increasing user fees 2.1%, I think we need to just specify that that means A, B, and C.
Yes.
That all three things that have a billing need to go up by that percentage. So that they all need to go up by 2.1%. And what you guys did in 2019 is you specifically increased the user charge to 100, and you specifically increased the usage surcharge to 200. So I think it's just the 2.1% that needs to hit B and C. And then the 5 and the 2.1 hits the A, which that's already been adjusted to 185.37. And then you probably will be close to the 50,572 unless people change their usage, which I can't control.
Right. Okay. In terms of I was just thinking about when to charge people. Obviously, this budget is going to be applied and come into use in about 4 or 5 days. And usually with the town budget, that's something that people know about in March. We're very close here. Since we're talking about dividing this and having a new charge for these 4 grease traps or 2 grease traps, 2 dowsing units, it would be nice to give them a little bit more warning. And it looks like because we're pumping 6 times annually, is a pumping going to occur in July? So they're immediately having to pay this new cost, or is it something that happens later on? So at least it gives them a couple months to realize that this new cost is going to come to them.
So the last one was done on 6/12/23. So I imagine the next one would be around the middle of August.
Okay, so it would give them a couple months to adjust to that and adjust their budgets accordingly, hopefully.
And just to be
Okay.
clear, the town, I believe, will still be billed for the pumping from Clark Wright, but then we would turn that around and invoice the customers.
Yeah, and I feel like you might want to do that as a separate exercise from your meter billing, because I feel like it could get really convoluted. You're just direct billing a reimbursable at 0 markup. It's just $252 is $252.
Okay, but we do, obviously we need to send a letter to those 4 property owners or businesses, with details on this. And it's a charge that the town has done itself over many, many years when it really shouldn't have. It was something that should have been passed on to those businesses because of the type of materials that are going down in the sewer system.
Right, and furthermore, we'll continue to do our efforts to make sure that all other grease traps that may not be exterior and are interior are also meeting that same, and that those costs are being borne by those particular users as well.
Right, exactly.
To keep it out of the system.
Yeah, our mission here is to make sure that this system obviously doesn't fail and can keep supporting them for decades to come.
Yeah, and that language is very important, and that's the whole reason, or we wouldn't be worried if our BOD and our TSS was like 200 coming out of our splitter box. We'd be fine. We could take on new businesses. We could put in, additions to our system, but we're not there. We're at 630. We're way, way, way high.
But you're saying down there down at the splitter box,
Hmm.
bottom of the hill, there's a lot of grease in there, so it's getting
Oh.
by.
Oh, it's nasty, yeah. It's not
So
just
if
the
it's- wait a
septic
minute,
tank,
wait a
it's
minute.
getting in the splitter
So-
box.
It's getting to the splitter box, and we're pumping the 4 external ones 6 times a year, every other month. So in theory, the grease isn't really coming from them. They're doing their part. It's the
That's
other
correct.
ones that aren't doing their part, and that's where I want to hit them in the pocketbook. I don't
That's-
think the 4 of them should say, we're doing our part and we're willing to pay it, but you're still got a nasty, if we,
No, that's what
I-
we're saying. We're gonna
Yeah.
enforce the others, not.
Yeah,
others.
Exactly.
I think that's like where the song goes, da-na-na, like, we're doing this, and then we need to go to the
Yeah.
other 8 businesses and say, this is also the type of
Your
waste you
responsibility.
produce. Yep, you
Right.
have responsibility, we need to see your grease trap, we need to see your cleaning records. And if you don't have a grease trap, one needs to be designed by a professional, it needs to be installed. And just keep working with them and see the cleaning records, because otherwise we're just ending up with this nasty, what I would call effluent from the septic tanks heading towards the leach field, and it is not of the quality that it should be.
And we talked about today that with the water billing that's going out probably this week, that we can include a letter to those bills that go to the sewer customers, because all the sewer customers also get water bills. And we would include a letter to the effect of what we've been talking about. Let them know that the rates that were approved back in 2019 and 2022 were not in effect, so yay for you, you got a little gift. But now it's going to be applied, and here's why, and then kind of summarize some of these things that we've been talking about.
Okay.
So what is our recourse as far as finding somebody who doesn't pump their interior grease trap?
The ordinance is very clear about that. I can't remember the language,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say we
the
have to have
ordinance
it.
gives the town a lot of authority.
So we need to, that should also be in that letter so that everybody knows that we're.
Understands.
Yeah. Back
So
in
that-
2018, a copy of the ordinance was delivered to everybody.
We walked right in,
Close.
delivered it, looked at what
Oh,
we
yeah.
could look at, and we got one active participant and a bunch of others that just kind of went, huh,
Whatever.
Mhm.
yeah,
we
whatever.
found the grease.
We went back a second time, we got laughed at again, so at this point, it's just time, and I know that I can involve the state if I need to. I wanna try to be.
Hopefully it
friendly
won't
first.
come to that.
No, we have really great,
Yeah.
we have great people in this town, great businesses, and everybody wants this is a very good thing for the town to have, otherwise there's
Right.
no room. There's no room for sewer on a paved road and in a
Okay.
pavement driveway.
Are we
Okay,
ready
so I
to
just want to,
vote on this?
I just want to note that we've gone past the time we allotted. So are there
Yeah.
other things about this budget, Jill, that we need to know about?
Yeah, I'm tired of talking crap.
Yeah.
This is pretty much it. It's just to let you guys know that the next step, that it's like, let's get a budget that we're happy with, number one. And then number two is, in future meetings, I want to talk to you guys about what we're doing next. I mean, obviously, we'll have the letter that will go out, and then after that, it's going to be kind of boots on the ground.
And maybe it becomes a meeting with all the grease trap owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about
So
that last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023-2024 sewer district budget.
Which aspect?
The one that's up on the screen.
Well, I know, but there's two choices. The
What are
10% or the 7 point something percent.
Well,
Well, the
7%
7%
there.
is
anyway.
already there.
Already there, okay, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just that
just
along with the bill and the
bill
grease
for
traps,
grease
Ian, is
traps,
that what
right.
you're saying?
Correct. As we
So we're
discussed, it
not-
would be the, sorry, go ahead.
We're not really, there's not a proposed increase in this budget.
Okay,
It's
so
just what was there from the previous year.
Okay,
Right,
Just-
Correct.
that's my
just what's the bill.
understanding, it's just the 7, it's
The-
not, we're not increasing the budget or the fees, the only addition is the billing of the
Grease
grease traps.
Yep.
Yep.
and
just
making the adjustments
acknowledging.
to the other sections that Jill made
Yeah.
reference to,
Mhm.
that should also
Yeah.
have been increased that weren't.
Yeah.
Okay, just,
So we have a motion.
Second.
Here's a second. Any other discussion?
Now that you're back, Joel, we have a
Just in
motion and a
time.
second for this budget.
Any questions, Joel? Any other
I've had
discussion?
plenty of them answered, so.
Okay. All those in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we have a budget.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you guys.
Jill.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Anthony, as
much,
well,
Jill
for
and
working on
Anthony.
that, and Val.
Yes, and
Yes.
Valerie and Sharon. It was
And Sharon.
definitely 4 people that it took to get these numbers all together, so. All right.
Okay. Are we on to the consent agenda?
Yes, please.
Okay, on to the consent agenda.
And just a reminder that the concept of the consent agenda is that items are grouped that are either routine or would not ordinarily generate conversation or discussion. If there's something, if an item on the consent agenda is going to trigger a conversation, then it should come off and be moved under regular business so that the consent agenda can be approved in a single swoop with one motion.
but we can ask questions.
You can, yeah, but if it's gonna be a
No
lot,
long
then it should be.
discussion.
Yeah, then, because the idea
You
is
have
to make
5
it quick,
seconds.
quick and easy.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second.
Well, I'll bring it up. July 3rd is just a day before the 4th. It's not, I think they ought to be in the office. We're not open on Fridays now anymore. That'll be, the office will only be open to the public only 2 days.
That week, just that week.
Yeah,
Just that week.
July 3rd, most of the public has to work that day.
Well, Sharon's not gonna be here.
Well, she's got time coming to her. Let her-
Well, no, I
Everybody,
understand, that's what
everybody
she's
has
doing.
time.
Right,
Right.
but the question is there gonna be somebody here to be in the office? That's the question.
Right, because the vault would be closed.
Right.
I think we've warned ahead of time. I think it's acceptable.
For that one week. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
I mean, I know that they're gonna be taking vacation days or whatever, it's not, paid holiday, that's it.
Or they'll be working from home.
Eric, your crew working on the 3rd?
No, we're all taking, well, I'm not gonna be here anyway.
No.
They're taking
Are they
vacation
taking
time
it
on
out of their
the.
vacation
Yeah,
pay?
yeah, no, they're using time, either personal, vacation, whatever, they're using. they're
Is this
using
what's
time.
happening here?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
It's
okay,
not a
It's
paid
not a
it's
holiday.
not gonna be
holiday.
paid.
No,
Oh, they're
Well,
gonna
it's
take
paid, but
use.
vacation.
We're gonna
vacation
close.
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we're not giving them,
I
we're
thought-
not paying them for an extra day off.
No,
Yeah,
no.
okay. I'm okay with that then.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other discussion?
Did Bruce have any issues with the Green Mountain Stage race? Any issues from last year?
No, though.
No,
I didn't go.
we've done this a few years. It's good.
Okay, great. Good to know, Bruce. I'd like to
So
thank,
my only, yeah,
go on.
my
Nope,
only
go ahead.
question about that was, just to avoid having 2 events on the same day, do we know if there's anything else, Bruce, going on in town at that same time?
I
It's
don't.
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend, okay. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Shall we vote? All those in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. And moving on.
So the dog pound.
Yes, so regular business, correct? So, talking about the dog pound, do we need to be caught up on anything?
That's down unless you want to know what we intend to store there.
Sure. Trying to find a second.
Nothing hazardous. Made a brief list. Look to store cooktop camp stoves, or propane camp stoves. Well, I guess something hazardous, 2 propane tanks. Patrol cook boxes, which contain pots, pans, cookware. We have 4 of them currently in the trailer. We only need typically 1. So 3 of them would be stored there. 8 of the troop tents, 6 individual tents, 4 mil-spec cold weather sleeping bags, and assorted other cooking and camping gear. We wouldn't be taking our clothes closet or the backpacks, our library, or any food items to store there.
Eric, did you have any other questions or
Does
concerns?
any of that need to heat, Bill?
Nope.
It's all cold
Yeah,
storage?
that was, no, it doesn't. It's all good to go.
Yeah, the only thing is, I'm good with it, yeah. I mean, like I said, last year, the only thing I stored in it was 25 bales of hay I put in there. Which with his stuff, I can still put my hay in there for the winter, which is good. just may want to clean.
Oh, yeah, I got some people to do that,
So,
about 14 of them.
oh, there you go. No, I'm good with it. I have no issues.
Is mice an issue in there, Eric? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So leave the door open for
Think it
them.
was tense. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have some abatement solutions that we
And
use.
then the reason why the mice are in there is basically because of the dog food. They ended up having to get a metal garbage can to put it in so the mice wouldn't get in. I didn't, with the hay that was in it last winter, I didn't notice any mice or rats or anything, droppings or whatever you wanna call them, when I was taking my hay out this year.
And your strings were all
And the
intact.
strings were all intact and they weren't ate off or anything, or no baby flopped out of the hay or anything, so maybe because the dog food's gone, that won't be an issue.
Yeah, that's one thing we're taking into account, and have had to there in the basement of the Legion. Typically, it's pretty good to go down there. We haven't had any issue, but we try to pay attention, so that is definitely something we'll take into account.
Okay.
And again, this is a proposal. If it's approved here, then I take it to the committee to see if they will exercise that. Does that make sense?
What about insurance for you guys? I mean, for your personal property stuff?
We have,
Like a renter's insurance policy or whatever?
yeah, we have,
Please catch it.
equipment insurance, a policy in this section with, Eric Carter.
Do we need us as an additional insured on that, or? I mean, I know we have the building insured.
In other words, if one of the
If something
propane
happens.
things blows up and it burns the building down.
Or if one of the kids gets hurt in there, if they're in there and somebody gets hurt, what is that for us? I mean, that's all I'm thinking is the insurance and the liability.
Well, as a matter, it's
Well,
funny, I'm glad you mentioned that because last year we talked about removing that building from our insurance coverage because it wasn't being used.
Mhm.
And we were planning on disposing of it.
Mhm.
So at the moment,
So we are covered by the Green Mountain Council whenever the scouts are doing scouting activities. So
For liability.
Liability wise.
Right.
and for large events like the one that we held at Mount Abraham, the Merit Badge University, there's specific policies put in place for that because it's a large gathering, but any normal troop gatherings or whatever, we're covered by the Green Mountain Council.
So Valerie, are you saying that currently that building's not insured?
it might not be insured right now. I'm checking to see if this year's policy included it. We might have had it taken off. And it really didn't amount to much, but we thought, why pay for something that we're not?
Right, and we talked about removing it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's gonna make any difference in the decision. Like, while I'm looking.
Well, and if necessary, and I can talk to Eric about it, if necessary, we can put an additional policy. It's like $100 a year for the equipment that we have, that we're paying currently, so.
Okay, any other questions?
I just would like the caveat on it, if for some reason our dogs can't go to Middlebury anymore and we need to reuse that property for its
We
use.
can't.
We can't, wasn't it?
Just say,
It was condemned as a dog pound.
but it could be put back as a dog pound if we did some improvements bigger. Don't want it just a blanket, say, yeah, they've got it, now we can't even, that's what I'm just saying. If we gave them 60-day notice or 90-day notice that, hey, we've got to use it for dog pound, then they'd have to vacate it, that's all.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
I think it's still covered, actually. I don't think it came off.
I realize we can't use it now, but we may have to come to that point where you gotta do some improvements, because we can't take them in Middlebury, or they're too large. There are too many down there now.
Well, we don't have somebody who's gonna wanna go over there and take care of the dogs, and I think he's listening.
It's kind of a sad place for a dog
Yeah.
to spend its time.
Uh-oh,
Uh-oh,
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
we just, looks like it's power to the TV.
I did not touch.
You didn't touch it, I'll be your witness.
So folks, the lost the TV screen.
I'll send Deanna a notice.
So the folks that
I got
are
it.
online, we can't see you.
Can you see me?
I had a circle a
I can
minute
see.
ago. There's a circle.
Oh, they're still there.
I can see you.
There you go.
Oh,
There
really?
they are. Ta-da! I fixed it.
So not quite, we've lost the owl. We can't see you guys there.
Yeah, shake the computer a little bit.
Oh, there goes the owl.
Yeah, the owl has gone.
Oh,
No, it's coming back on.
The speaker thing.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so do we
You
need
might want to
to,
start the video, though.
oh, yeah,
Speaker. Can you start the video?
you can do it, Peeker.
You got it down there, yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
There you go. So should we need to vote on this, correct?
I would
Yes.
recommend.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, yes? Or did I miss that part?
I don't think.
I forget where we are, I'm sorry. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we allow them to do it with, if in the caveat, the town did need it in emergency, with 90-day notice, we could get it back.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, shall we vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay,
Well, thank you.
and you went from 60 to 90 days with Joel's proposals.
There you go.
It's all good, Bill.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Everybody have a great
We
evening.
work
Thank you.
around here.
Thank you.
Could be 9 years before we need to make a proposal.
All right, up next,
Munson.
Munson. Consider acceptance of Munson earth moving bid for the Pine Street water line replacement project at $617,850.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Much, much more.
Yeah.
What do we need to know?
And Steve Palmer is
Steve's gonna tell
here.
us something.
He's gonna walk us through it.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
The whole thing.
He's
Yep.
gonna run us
Hi,
through
Steve.
it.
Yes.
Just the highlights, Steve, please.
Yeah, I promised. She put 30 minutes on here and I said, wow, 30 minutes, I'll be sleeping. Holy mackerel.
Well, I hope you don't take that long.
How about 3?
I meant 3.0, right?
Yeah, 3.0. There you go.
Okay,
Thanks, Steve.
let's see. Do I have control of this by?
I don't know, we can't see you.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I can, I will,
Hang on, let me work on that.
And Val's gonna make you a co-host.
How's that? Any better?
Yeah, now we can see you.
Now we can see you. I don't know if it's any better.
Oh.
Understandable.
Boy, slam the door hard on that.
Okay. Can I share my screen? Let's see.
Yes, you are a
Yeah.
co-host now.
So I can just hit share screen?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you know how many,
How's that?
anything we shouldn't see up on your screen?
Nothing I'd be embarrassed about anyway. Put it that way. Hey, listen, this whole process started,
We didn't get it.
what's that?
We don't have your
You're not
screen.
sharing.
Okay,
Must be on a different screen.
okay, all I need to do is hit share screen, right?
Yeah.
Share screen and then you choose your window.
Not the one with the shade in it.
How's that?
There you go.
All right, look at that. Okay, hey, this process, as you guys realize, started back on November 7th, really, when, you had an approved vote for a $940,000 bond. And that bond was to do two things, really three things. It was to complete, it was really to finance the engineering portion of this, the design portion of this, right? To construct the project and also conduct the engineering oversight that's required in order to use the DWSRF funds, okay? So basically those three things, and that's what the money really was there for. So on March 15th, we received an approval from ANR to finally put the project out to bid. We'd finally checked all the boxes that they needed checked. We had a pre-bid meeting on May 18th, and bids were received on June 8th. I know some of you folks participated in some of that process. We spent a lot of time, we spent a lot of time both really contacting as many contractors as we could find directly. This obviously went out to bid on the state's website, but it's a poor way to get a hold of people. I mean, some of you folks are contractors, you get it. You're not sitting there looking at websites all day long trying to track down what projects might be coming out for bid. So the way to get, in my humble opinion, I've been doing this a while, the way to really get good pricing is to go out and beat feet and talk to as many contractors as you possibly can. within a, 30, 40, 50-mile radius, and try to get as much interest as you can get in the project. The more interest you're going to get in the project, the lower overall costs you're going to get at the end of the day, the lower the bid costs, right? That's the goal of a public bidding process from your perspective and my perspective, right? Get the lowest possible price we can get for the ratepayer. So on June 8th, we had a public bid opening. We had quite a bit of interest. It was interesting to me how this played out, but I was hoping to get at least 5 bidders. We had 7 firms. Actually, we had about a dozen that showed interest right up until the bid day. We had 7 firms that actually submitted bids on this. You see, yeah, you can see my screen. You can see the 7 that were there. So at bid opening, let me just quickly cover what we really do. So there's 2 big pieces to this, right? The 2 pieces are you're looking for both a responsive bid and a responsible bidder, and those are 2 very different things. The responsive bid means did the bidder respond to the RFP or proposal or whatever it was in this case that you put out. In our case, this would be an advertisement for bids, all the same idea. Did they respond appropriately and answer all of the information that you requested when they submit the bid? Okay, that's is it a responsive bidder? Okay, if you go down the checklist, and we had a checklist at the beginning of this that we go down through, quickly. Basically, they had to submit them by 1 p.m. on the 8th, right? That's number 1. Did they get here on time? The answer is yes. Okay, that's checked off. Did they receive all of the addendums, right? There were a ton of questions that came in from bidders. Okay, we turned those around and said, okay, here's responses to each one of your questions. We have to turn those all around. And there was 3 addendums that were submitted. Okay, check. We can see the 3 addendums. Did they have a complete and executed bid form? In other words, did they go through and read the entire bid form and actually sign it at the end and date it? Let us know that they actually read it. And the last was inclusion of, bid security. In this case, a bid bond. All 7 bidders were determined to be responsive bidders. And so at that point, we read all of the bids out loud. You can see kind of on my screen what a summary of that looks like. At that point, we haven't gone through any of the numbers. All we have is a bid from a bidder. Let me just switch screens here a little bit. And I kind of summarize all this stuff for you folks. And if the folks that read the information that was sent earlier, you saw all this in there, right? So this is a certified bid tab. So what I do is I line up all of the bidders on a bid tab by their total bid. You see here at the bottom, right? I start lowest over here on the left and move across to highest. The lowest obviously is going to be Munson Earth Moving, but at the bid opening, we go through and we announce who the apparent quote unquote low bidder is. And all we're doing at that point is looking at this number down here. They submit a total to us, okay? We have no idea whether or not there are mathematical errors in here. So we announce it as an apparent low bidder, okay? And till this evening, that's still true, right? Munson has been noted as the apparent low bidder. At that point, I go through and I align everything on a spreadsheet and I make sure all of the math adds up and when I'm missing certain things, and the actual apparent low bidder is the actual low bidder. You'll be surprised how many times people make math errors or whatever else, and it turns out that we don't have the actual low bidder. In this case, almost all of the math added up on all 7 bidders. You see the ones in red here. We had a couple of minor errors. They weren't enough to change the order of the bids regardless. Let's see, this might be of interest to you. My estimate, where are we here? Right here, was 710,000, more or less, okay? So when you look at what the averages were, okay, here's the average of all 7 bidders. We're actually pretty doggone close. And if you went through and you looked at what the spread in these numbers are between each one of these unit items, it's amazing. There was a lot of spread between these folks in all different, in other words, they're putting a profit in all different items, okay? That's really a way to look at it. So sometimes that makes estimating kind of difficult, okay? Some other things that might be of interest to you, I also go through, and I didn't include this in your bid tab. This is just for Valerie and Jill and I. When we go through and we look at all of the numbers the next time. So when we go to Bristol West, for instance, and we're coming up with very high level estimates, and we know there's 10,000 linear feet of pipe, we're gonna come in here and we're gonna look at average numbers and we're gonna say, okay, we know we're in the $300 a foot range for these pipes. And that's where we should be at a high level estimate, right? We're just taking the average of all of these bids. Okay, so it's interesting information for us in the future. It'll help us a lot. There's a whole criteria that I go through in terms of checking Munson, not only Munson's numbers, but who is Munson? Did they actually, do they have great references? Did they, who is their bond company? Does the bond company have good ratings? Is their bond actually valid? You can go through a whole list of things at the end of the day. And I've summarized all that for you guys in a 6-page report. And there's a whole bunch of attachments that go with it. And I'm not going to go into all that tonight. But at the end of the day, Munson is, based on our process, the low bidder. And they are the most, in my opinion, they're qualified to do this job. All 7 of these guys, honestly, were qualified to do this job. We've all done hundreds of projects. Munson's been around since 1962. I know they've done work for the town of Bristol in the past. I've worked with these guys years ago. They did a fairly good job in the project that I was on with them. I talked to the public works director from Wadusky. They had finished some work for him recently, and he had nothing but glowing things to say about them. And I also talked to CSWD, Water District, and they also had great things to say about them. And they had just hired them to do some small work. It was non-bid stuff as well. And they said they're one of the best contractors that they've worked with. I know everybody has different experiences with contractors. You can get a good superintendent, a bad superintendent. It makes all the difference in the world on a project. Every one of these guys, you could contact, 10% of the folks that they work for, and they probably wouldn't have great things to say about them. But in general, all of these folks are qualified to do this type of work. And I think Munson is probably as qualified as anybody else. They've done hundreds and hundreds of projects all around Vermont. It would be hard for anybody to say that they're not a qualified firm. So what does that mean? Let me go here. This is kind of a neat summary. Okay, so some of the things that Valerie and Jill and I are tracking, right, as we go. Where are we at in terms, we had an overall budget, right? Here's the approved bond, $940,000 to get all this done. Okay, here is, when I say an approved budget, that just means, here's what the original contract was for, okay? GME had a contract to do the engineering services. I believe that contract, and Valerie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I had to guess at that one because I didn't have the contract in front of me. I had a number in here to finish up what GME had. They didn't bill $49,000. Okay, Valerie gave me this number the other day. They billed $21,518. I billed $13,000 to complete it, and here's where we're at. Okay, so we're in pretty good shape there. We're a lot less than what we originally budgeted. In terms of construction, okay, I'm not filling in anything over here because this is actual cost. I have no idea what that's going to be at the moment, but I think based on our bids, we're going to be a lot less than we budgeted for, which is great news, right? This came out, it couldn't come out any better. Our right now, our construction costs, okay, I had budgeted $710,000, but remember that didn't include contingency either. That was just what I envisioned the initial bids would come in at. Okay, we also put a 10% contingency in, which is a little bit more than we normally put in, but we're dealing with 1905 water line that nobody knows truly what's in the ground today. I mean, Jill's been super helpful in helping us put together as best of knowledge as we could. But I guarantee you we're going to find things that we did not anticipate. And it's nobody's fault. There just really isn't good maps and good as-built, not in today's terms anyway, of what's in the ground. So we're going to find some things. That's what this contingency money is about, right? And there may be some things in the middle of the project that you folks say, hey, we've got a problem here. We'd like to add X, Y, or Z in order to solve that problem, right? And the contractor is going to come back and say, okay, we can do that for you. It's going to be $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever the number happens to be. And that's what this contingency money is really there to cover, okay? The rest of this is bid phase engineering. We basically spent that, right? That's been my time for the last 3 months. Now we're gonna get into construction engineering services. I think this was based on 14 and a half weeks, which is what we gave the contractor to get to substantial completion. I believe that in reality, we're gonna have a lot less time than that. So I think these are pretty conservative numbers. And I'm not gonna change that until we get to here, right? I like to hold our budgets until we're pretty well done. We know exactly what we're gonna spend, but you can see when you start looking at, here's our bond number. Here's, roughly what we think we're gonna be at. I would bet we're gonna be less than this by a substantial amount. So I think we're gonna be $100,000 to $150,000 below what your budget is right now, when we're all said and done. Okay?
I hate saying that. I really hate saying that.
Which is great news. And it really, a lot of this came down to this right
So
here.
Steve, real quick, and this does not include the paving number, or does this include paving?
That includes
Cutting
everything.
it in,
Patch,
Patch.
cutting
Not
it
paving
in
the
8 feet
road.
wide.
That's right.
patching the whatever they dig out.
Okay.
Right. Yep. That includes everything. There is where are we? Bituminous pavement repair, right here. Okay. The big number.
Yeah.
The big number.
It's not the whole road. It's a strip of the road all the way down.
That's right. It's 7 or 8 feet in all the way down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steve,
right.
on a project normally like this, what are the 10-20% change orders or not? I
put a 10% contingency in here, and that's what that's really meant to handle. I mean, unless we have a major change, there shouldn't be a change order unless we run into some utility we didn't envision or things that weren't mapped. Or there's changes that we decide mid-project we want to make for whatever reason.
And did they give you a number per hour or whatever for that
No.
equipment for a change order?
No, we didn't get an hourly rate, but everybody has a different way of approaching those things. And I depending on what it is, I normally say to them, we'd like a lump sum price. If it's, we need to spend an extra half a day doing X, Y, or Z, or there's some extra traffic control because we wanted to do something special, whatever that may be. I think it's easier for you folks. It's a heck of a lot easier to track this doing them with a lump sum. But we can certainly ask them for a time and material sheet once we get started too. That's not a big deal. So there's 100 ways to handle that. Like I said, I'm really happy with the way things came out. Like, this couldn't have come out any better from your perspective, I don't believe. We were really lucky. We had, I think there was 4 different contractors that told me they had absolutely no work lined up after August 1st, which has been unheard of in the last, in recent memory anyway, 10 years. People have been super, super busy. And I think that's why we ended up with this number. Honestly, if this had happened a year ago, I don't think we would be anywhere near that number. So in some regards, getting delayed may have been a good thing. Any questions?
So your recommendation is Munson?
Yeah, there's a $60,000 difference between Munson and Dale Percy, who's the second bidder. And it's,
This is West Street, so I'm just curious how.
Yeah, everybody in
We
this room
complained
knows how
about
West
that.
Street.
Well, it was the form,
It was all
like
the
Steve said,
super-
it was the supervisor, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a difficult one.
And you'll be on site most of the time, Steve, or no?
yeah,
Or somebody from your staff?
at least half the time. So we've got some other things. I'm hopefully going to be doing some things for Bristol West while this is going on too. So I don't think I'll be very far for a lot of this.
Can we make sure we don't have that supervisor this time?
I don't think any of those people even work for Munson anymore.
Okay,
So,
let's hope so, given the issues that we had on that prior
Right.
project.
and that's, honestly, that's part of Valerie and Jill and I's responsibilities. And we will work very closely with the contractor every single week on complaints, and there's going to be complaints. There's going to be issues. There's going to be challenges. This is very disruptive work. We're basically digging a 7-foot hole in front of everybody's business and everybody's house, all the way down Pine Street. It's going to be disruptive. We're going to get some complaints. But, you know, one of the things that I think really helps a lot, Valerie has committed to putting up a separate webpage on your website so people can go in and get information. We're going to hold some meetings with the public before we start with the contractor. And I think that goes a long way, just to let people know exactly what the phasing plan is, where they're going to start, what kind of disruptions they envision happening, what the initial traffic control plan is going to be, all of those things. And, you know, people understand that when you explain it to them. And then, you know, we provide information for them for contacts, and Jill will be talking with the residents when it comes down to, you know, service interruptions, utilities. All of that kind of communication goes a long way, and you guys get, you know, 1/10 the amount of complaints that you'll get if we don't do a good job at the public relations part of this. So
Right.
we'll work pretty hard at that.
It's also very necessary work. It's not even like we're putting in new lines, which are kind of, we have to do that anyway, but this is like replacing lines that are well beyond their lifespan. And it's a very important thing to do, and will improve our system a tremendous amount.
Right. And people understand that, Ian. That's very important. You're right. People do understand that, though. And I think you saw that in your bond vote.
Well, I make a motion, we award the contract to Munson Earth Moving for $617,850.
If I could add a little detail, the motion could be subject to the loan approval through the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund.
With
Just
that.
what he said.
Yeah.
Just what he said.
I want you to repeat that, Beaker.
I'll second.
I'll second. Okay, good.
Right.
Many seconds. So any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Well,
Steve, and thank you everyone who reviewed those proposals. That was great work.
That must have been grueling.
Well, he's got a system, which helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
does.
Steve's organized, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
How do I give this back to you?
I'm gonna stop it for you. There you
Okay.
go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment that since I've been on board now almost 6 years, every year Joel has said, when are we going to get this project done? When are we going to get this done? And here we are. So
Sometime.
Remember,
Correct.
15 years ago when Bill Bryant was here, he told my brother Peter he wanted to pave Pine Street. He goes, no, don't do that. We're gonna put a water line down.
Well, he wasn't lying.
He didn't, he didn't say
15
when.
years later, right here. 15 years
Can we get Joel to have a float in the 4th of July parade
Yes.
just to
No.
finally
With
announce that
water-
this is
with
happening?
Water and sewer lines. So big congratulations to everybody for making this happen.
Yeah, this is great.
All right,
Next.
you are relieved, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Steve.
Jill. Thanks, Steve.
All right, item number, what would it be, 2?
Yeah, Notch Road.
Notch Road. Consider bid results from the select contractor for the Notch Road ditching project.
And, let's see here.
Somebody had their hands up.
Chris, you know he's clapping.
No, you're clapping. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, sorry, clapping.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to share my screen and see if I can manage this. And for the purpose of showing the summary that we had received as of last week of the bid results, I shared information today by email with select board members that we learned today that Masterson had actually submitted an updated bid on June 5th that had not been forwarded. It got mixed up, and so the updated bid is $38,500 instead of $26,500, a difference of $12,000. All the other aspects of the bid remain the same.
But he wasn't privy to any of the other,
Correct.
He just-
So it was received on June 5th,
Yeah.
and these weren't published.
within the timeline.
Yeah, I hadn't pushed any of these to Valerie until what, last week?
Last week.
Okay.
It was my screw up. I sent her the wrong one. I didn't click on the right updated version and when I sent it, so that's.
The one that's
my
shown,
fault.
the 26.5 was provided in April.
Yeah,
So, he went back and
I'll make a-
reevaluated the conditions of the site and whatnot and
Eric,
updated
yeah.
the bid.
when can he do this? If we go
I
to
don't
Madison?
know until I talk to him about it and see when he can schedule it. Oh, for your guys' information, unless you tell me otherwise, I plan on closing the Notch Road completely for a week to 10 days, depending on how long the project takes.
And this is where on the Notch Road?
On the paved part of the hill that goes down to 116.
Oh, from there down, so
Yeah.
people that living from the High Bridge back to Bristol can get through.
No, they're gonna have to go down Lower Notch.
Go down to 116 that way?
No,
They're
they
going,
can't go
Upper Notch
down.
will have to go all the way down Lower Notch, Carlson Road.
Right,
or-
yes, yes. but
Yes.
They just can't get from the High Bridge down to 116.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that
Just
is,
for,
is all right as long as they're there continuously. If they're not gonna be there for like the weekend,
right.
that the road be
Open the road.
open back up.
I was gonna have them open the road back up on Friday, so that way people can use it during the weekend, and then if it needed to be closed again, we would re-close it again on Monday. The reason for closing it is the work will get done a lot faster than having to deal with traffic going up and down the hill all the time.
And all three of those bidders knew that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I'll make a motion that we go with Masterson's Son Excavating LLC for 38.5, and with a stipulation that it's done within your time frame after some reasonable time. You know, once we had them here and, you know, we were told we're gonna start the day after Labor Day, and I think they started on Easter.
November, yeah.
They started in November and we barely got it paved down
Yeah.
there, so. Okay,
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Okay,
Just real quick, do we know how long we're thinking it's gonna take? Or you're
All three
expecting?
contractors told me that it would be a week to 10 days is what they're figuring that it would take them to do it. Provided, that's of course, depending on how big the Goonies are, once they get into the bank,
Goonies?
rocks.
rocks,
I was just gonna-
rocks, I knew what it
That's a
what you
technical
call
term.
them,
Rocks.
Big, big
Okay, you learn something new every day.
Get okay.
And the trees, we've already.
I've got the trees situated, the first contractor called me today, we're gonna meet again, when I get back from vacation. He doesn't think that he can get in there to do it with his machine. But I told him, I said, I think I got a spot for you to get in, so we're gonna meet, and I'm gonna show him where I'm thinking that he can get into to see if it'll work.
Okay.
If not, the second contractor said, all I gotta do is call him, let him know, and he'll come up and take care of it.
Gotcha.
And this funding is coming out of the capital roads.
Well, we have a $20,000 grant through
Right.
V-Trans, and the balance would come out of either the operating budget or capital roads.
Okay.
I would expect capital roads.
And this is to be in compliance with the state for the ditching, the runoff and all that stuff.
Right, and some of that in-kind time, I mentioned the operating budget because some of the in-kind time that would come out of the budget could be accounted for towards that in-kind match.
Okay.
Although the actual cash dollars are gonna far exceed that, so we don't have to probably go through that exercise.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on.
Take care.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
That was like 10 minutes.
Go.
We're getting there.
One more thing I want to say.
Oh, enjoy, I was gonna say, enjoy your vacation.
So our next item is consider Bristol Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee mission statement and Pine Street traffic calming recommendations. Chris, hi.
Hello, hi, Select Board, hi, Selectmen and Selectmen. Thank you for having me. I understand it has been a long time coming. This is our first official appearance in front of the Select Board. As you'll note, on one of the documents that we provided, It's been in limbo since September of last year, at least one of the things that's there. I have been in constant talks with our sponsor, Ian, about some of the procedural and committee issues that we have been running into as far as why it's taken so long to get in front of you all. And we're hopefully going to be moving a lot faster from this point forward. So I thank you very much for your patience up to this point. If you'll permit me, I know I provided through Valerie the two documents. If you'll permit me, I'd like to start with the mission statement because I think that provides good context for the Pine Street traffic calming, as well as it's just something that we wanted to do that's centering our efforts around something around a mission. And I think it's important to talk about that first before we get into the next part of it. So mission statement here, it is wordy, it is intentionally broad, it is packing as much into this paragraph or this sentence and a half as possible. The Bristol Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee encourages, enhances, and promotes walking and biking in Bristol through the creation, advocacy, and guidance of initiatives that make the town's roads, sidewalks, and other pathways safer and easier for walkers, runners, cyclists, and other non-motorized users to utilize. I mentioned that it is intentionally broad. We did not want it to be limited to one specific area, one specific type of movement, any specific demographic. We are purposely taking the long view with this effort, such that it's not just the sidewalks and the byways here in the police district. It's not just for bicyclists who are traveling on the gravel roads. It's really, we're taking a long view as far as everything we can do both in the village and in the town to make it safer and actually even more healthy and welcoming to both the users who are here in the town, who live in the town, as well as people who are visiting us. So that's why it is so wordy.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, it looks good.
And I noted it was important for us to have something like this because we do from time to time people beyond just Jim, who we thank every month for joining our meetings. From time to time, we have other people on our calls, and sometimes the angle that they're taking with some of the comments, it would be helpful to have a mission statement out in front so that they understand the orientation of the group is towards this audience and not necessarily towards, say, making the town highways and byways safer, even safer for cars. We've had a couple of people come in and make comments to that effect for all intents and purposes. So from a procedural standpoint, what do we do from here? Are we good with this, or?
We don't need to make a motion on this.
You don't
Okay.
require select board approval.
No.
Perfect. Okay. Then we'll move on to the Pine Street traffic calming phase 1. Do you want me to share, Ian, or do you have it? I have it as well.
Yeah, if you could share it, and then you can drive.
I've got it.
Might be a little
Perfect.
bit easier. Okay.
Yeah, you're co-host now, Chris.
Okay,
You should be able to
perfect.
just share your screen.
Great. Hold on one second. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. So there's some context up front here. Pine Street was identified a couple years ago by the ad hoc committee that was obviously the predecessors to the BPAC as an area that needed attention in the short term. Previously, the select board had approved a traffic calming pedestrian bicycle lane, otherwise known as an advisory lane. In most communities, that's what that's called, and budgeted for by the select board for last summer, actually. And I know you're all familiar with this. In the interim, Ian brought to us a request from you all that we create an interim proposal that is a stepping stone potentially towards an advisory lane thing. He had communicated that there were concerns around people understanding and being able to deal with something as different as an advisory lane approach, especially on a pathway or a byway as narrow as Pine Street. And Pine Street is, as you all know, very narrow. So up to that point, we had, and even through that point, we had considerable feedback from a variety of Pine Street residents indicating, regardless of what we do, that there's an overwhelming need for and support for a multifaceted approach to traffic on Pine Street. So that interim proposal suggested from you all was to look at increasing the number of stop signs that were on Pine Street. So when we took a step back and looked at why stop signs might be a good approach for Pine Street traffic calming, it became obvious that, I'll just read from here, while aspects of the pedestrian and bike lanes have already been approved and budgeted for, there's a need to ultimately for this to be a sustainable success on Pine Street. So we didn't want to jump ahead with the advisory lane project and then have that backfire in any way. So hence the iterative approach. So stop signs at specific intersections can provide an iterative approach, since obviously people understand stop signs. We don't have to, there's no learning curve with how they work. They would have a combined effect, together with what at the time had been talked about lowering the police district speed limit to 25 miles an hour, of making Pine Street more friendly and traversable by slowing down traffic, as well as making the intersections, at least one of it, which is extremely challenging right now, the one at Pine and Munsell, easier for users traveling in all directions. You all know that Pine is effectively part of the big and small walking and biking loops, and it also coexists as the main way that people are end running the stoplights and other ways that we have in the town right now of slowing traffic down as they go to and from West Street to North Street. So a few notes from our survey of Pine Street. Obviously it runs east to west. It's approximately 5.5 miles long. There are 5 T intersections. 4 of these intersections have stop signs on the northbound street sides. The terminus at North Street has a stop sign on the eastbound side. The Pine to Liberty route is used, as noted, as a bypass due to its lack of stop signs. The west to south run has no stop signs at all. And the current Pine Munsell intersection stop sign is about 30 feet back from Pine, due to the fact that that both sides have radiused, not unlike the other end of the intersection of Pine, West Pleasant and Munsell. It has radiused corners. It doesn't have sharp corners, preventing us from locating a stop sign closer to the actual street. That, combined with the hill that Bristol Works is on, as well as the trees on the other side of the street, make visibility extremely difficult for any traffic that's coming from Munsell, either turning left or right onto Pine. So our suggested actions, and we've got visuals of this after this slide, are to install stop signs and lines at the Pine and Munsell intersection in the eastbound and westbound direction and lanes, to paint a stop line at the Pine and Munsell intersection on the Munsell northbound lane, and to install stop signs and lines at the Pine Maple intersections in the eastbound and westbound direction lanes. I will note that this plan was debated. There were people that were calling for stop signs at all of the intersections on Pine Street. We debated the need for that, as well as from a strategic standpoint. Some people were saying, well, do we ask for everything and hope that we get at least some of that? The proposal that we're putting in front of you is what we are asking for. It is not us asking for more and hoping we get a percentage of it. It is after asking a variety of people and considering any number of other things, we feel like it's the right thing to do. Quick visuals here that note Pine Street, satellite view, the current stop sign survey, the proposed intersection, the proposed new stop signs at both Maple and Munsell, and then just visualizations of what each of those can be. You can see in this picture here, as noted, about how far back the stop sign is on Munsell. You can't even see it in this photo, the Munsell side. So that indicates, just a pretty drastic situation that actually, as you all know, gets worse when it comes to the wintertime, and that starts getting piled up with snow. Looking at the same intersection from the other end, and then looking at the Pine Maple intersection as well. So again, this was in response to a staged or phased approach for Pine Street traffic calming. It is, I think, again, something that, having talked with people on Pine Street, they're welcoming of it. There are, again, though, people that are on Pine Street that are hoping that this is is a phase thing, that there's going to be another set of initiatives on Pine. We have been in talks with a variety of different groups that support these types of initiatives, including Local Motion, who have done efforts to support advisory lanes. We know that advisory lanes are challenging from any number of reasons for Pine Street, but we also know that the thing that makes them challenging also probably warrants their use there. That said, we feel like, again, everybody knows what a stop sign is, and by being able to slow that traffic down in at least one of those intersections, if not both of them, will go a tremendous way towards calming traffic overall on Pine Street.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Right.
Any questions?
Or, yeah.
Yeah,
Bruce, comments or concerns?
You went away.
He's sleeping.
Chris, can you bring back the, I don't care which one, I'm gonna ask a question on both of them, the Munsell
sure.
Avenue.
Yep.
The stop sign that shows Munsell and Pine.
Yep. Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now. Let's see.
That one there, yeah, I've spoken to Eric about that stop sign on the hills.
Yep.
It's behind that bush, to try to bring it out more to the road, because if you stop behind it, you're still another, then you can go right out, and then someone could be coming down the street. And I've spoken to him about this bush that was there right next to this stop sign that's been growing since I've been there. They started out a little small tree there, now
Yep.
look at the size of it. But I could see a stop sign, almost live with it, by the one coming west. We can see the backside of it, heading west on Pine Street, but that one there, not that one,
Yeah,
that one. Because you can't see around that building, but you can see down to almost to my driveway, or even further down to that, almost that truck. And I couldn't see one there if you're headed east.
The whole purpose of these is to slow
Slow
traffic.
traffic,
Is to
yeah.
slow the
It's not
traffic.
because you can't see.
Well, you guys ought to live there for 38 years and you're gonna hear the brakes
Mhm.
all the time. I talked to a lot of people, and first of all, Chris, knowing that all those 4 neighbors that I can see, I know not one of them have been talked to, first of all. The 4 or 5 neighbors I've asked a lot of people who walk down there. The McCormick girls who I walked with, last year, they said I could use their name. I asked them, I said, do you find the traffic on this street really bad, or when you get and run off the road when you're walking? And they said, no, they said the people seem to be, they see us walking, we get the single file, walk along the edge, and if someone's behind us, if we hear a car coming, they'll wait and go around them. So I was asked, and I was the one, we took a lot of heat here 6, 8 months ago, maybe a year ago, about the 25 miles an hour. And we kind of, I don't know whether we gave up on it, or we heard a lot of comment about it, both sides. And then, now let's go to but I was wondering if you had just one stop sign here and not coming east, because you can see, I think that the owner of that one burning bush there would probably talk to about cutting that. You can see for all the way down to the next intersection. And then go to the one on Maple Street, the intersection. And then that one, you stop by that fire hydrant right there, and you could almost, I can see, sitting in my car or truck, I can see Jackman Drive all the way down there. Maybe the one here now, going east, is still there, because it's hard to see around those bushes. But if those trees were cut right on the corner right there, I think you could see almost all the way down to Munsell Avenue.
Where's the stop sign on that road?
It's right to the left of the.
It's right behind the stop sign that you can't see. It's right next, just south of that,
of the
of the
fire
fire
hydrant.
hydrant. You can't see it, but it's there.
And quite far enough that way.
Yeah.
But it's not so much about,
It's
correct me if
not
I'm wrong, it's not
vision,
about
no.
seeing,
No,
it's
it's
about
not.
slowing people down from that boulevard that you can get a good head of speed on. So
Well, it's no different than Liberty Street.
Are we gonna have stop signs on every
Single
street intersection
intersection.
in this
Well,
village?
if it-
Well, if we want to calm traffic, we gotta do something.
That's
I think
where I
that
thought the 25 miles an hour would do that, to be really honest with you. I mean,
At
I could
25
see
miles
this
an
coming,
hour
and I
isn't,
thought,
I mean, we put it down to 25 miles an hour, people are gonna want it down to 20 or 15 or whatever. I mean, you can get hurt at 5 miles an hour. Is that too fast? You hit somebody, that's too fast.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that it matters what we put the speed on that road on, people are gonna travel that stretch really fast.
I
Because
see, I
I've done
run
it
that
myself.
road, I bike that road, and I've never really had a
that road is
problem.
busy Saturday morning.
Saturday mornings is probably the
Sunday, I
toughest.
love it that you could grow vegetables in the street, there's no traffic.
No.
Yeah, between 4:30, 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock at night, it's a little busy with all the cut through
Yeah.
traffic.
Eric, what were you saying?
Well, Bruce did a
Traffic
speed
study.
thing on that, and the speed on that road was not that fast.
Yeah.
He's
You
done it
might
a
have
couple different
one,
times.
I think he had one or two that
One
were
or two
pretty
that
fast.
was, and
but-
you're gonna have that on any street that you do,
Even with the stop signs. you're
even with
probably
the
still
stop
gonna- yeah.
signs.
I just,
And I honestly, my own opinion, because I travel that road a lot with a town truck and my own personal vehicle and all that. And I have never seen anybody walking or whatever that had to dart out of the road because somebody was coming down. Like Joel was saying, everybody waits for the people walking, they pull way out and around, go around them. And if they're walking, they wait until they have free time and then they go around.
I just wonder if the
Doesn't
neighbors,
seem to be an issue.
right, I just wonder if the neighbors are gonna, I mean, we get a lot of the truck traffic that go to the bakery there. And then a lot of them go to unload over to Jackman's or to fill their trucks up in the morning, the dump trucks and things. And then, stop and then.
I think you'll find they'll go the other way. I think you'll find that you'll eliminate, because there's no stop signs on North Street, all you have is the light to deal with.
No, he's
Well,
talking
then you got
delivery
Liberty
trucks.
Street.
Delivery trucks.
I understand that, but I think you'll still find them go the other way.
Which way?
They'll go where they don't have to stop.
Well, they're gonna have to stop
They gotta-
everywhere then,
I was
because
gonna
if they
say,
have to get to the bakery, they're gonna have to come down.
If they have to,
Russell
if they're
and
going to the bakery, they'll have to stop. If they're going to
Right.
Jackman's, then they come around the other way,
They go down West Street or.
And the stop signs that are, well, of course, they would have to be adjusted, but the stop signs where they're proposed on right now, there's no way a tractor trailer can make that swing with a car parked at the stop sign on Pine Street. That
If they're going-
stop sign would have to be moved back, 50 feet or so, Peter?
Yeah, it'd have to be moved back.
It'd have to move that quite a bit to make the tractor trailer make that swing.
And I was in Lincoln this weekend and they have the bike advisory lanes,
Yeah.
which were just dotted lines and they had little bike signs all the way
Yeah.
through. And, when you were driving up there, you could drive in them, but if there was a biker there, then that was the lane they were to be in.
So we asked this group to make a suggestion, they've made a suggestion, and now it sounds like we're talking about going back to the bike lane that we.
No, I don't think we ever nixed the bike lane.
No,
No.
we asked for it to be phased in, sort of, and this was their phase one plan.
So, I guess for my clarity, if this is phase one with the stop signs, when you do the advisory lanes, are the stop signs coming out? Or are the bicyclists gonna have to stop at each stop sign as well?
They're
Well,
supposed
they're
to.
supposed to,
Well,
but
they're
they
supposed
don't.
to, they don't, but they're supposed to.
Chris, can you talk about what your phase two might look like, or have you got that far yet?
Sure, I'd like to go back for a second and if I could, and address some of the comments over the last couple minutes. First of all, the road is not legally wide enough to be considered a 2-lane road by either Vermont DOT or the US DOT. It is at its widest in most spaces, it is 22 feet wide. A double lane road is supposed to be 38 feet wide. So inherently, the road is not a safe road for bike, pedestrian, and car travel in both directions in its current form. Widening the road is not an option. I know I'm not the select board, but all the stuff that you all just said about the water main thing and how long it took to get that done, I can't imagine that anybody has the political will to say, let's make the road 38 feet wide. So
No,
it
all your
is,
homeowners won't agree to that.
yeah, exactly.
Chris,
I'm sorry?
Do we have any street besides east and west in North Street, 38 feet wide?
I do not know. Our focus,
Is Liberty
I can,
Street that wide?
Well, where we have sidewalks, it doesn't need to be. He's saying in order to accommodate pedestrian
Pedestrian.
traffic.
Correct.
Well, North
Correct.
Street's
As-
And we only asked him to look
We
at
have
Pine Street.
sidewalks.
Yeah, but it's not for
Correct.
bikes.
Correct. That's exactly where I was going. So as a street that does not have a sidewalk option on it, and again, I believe, I don't know how many years ago, I think somebody said it was 7 years ago, it could have been 10, that a sidewalk was looked at and it was also deemed, basically, for whatever reason, that was not going to be an option. Last year in the United States was the highest pedestrian fatality record in the last 30-something years, something like since 1981. So we have a situation there where the street is a dangerous street, not just for a person coming down it on a bike or on their feet, but it is not considered a 2-lane street from the standpoint of what constitutes that. Anything here will help that slow this down. It's not these stop signs were not about visibility. They were about actually slowing down what is happening in some of those more troubling intersections. As far as whether bicycles are stopping at these stop signs or at all stop signs, I think it is incorrect to paint every single bicyclist as a bicyclist that does not stop at those stop signs. Are there people on bicycles that don't stop at stop signs? Of course there are, but there are also plenty, especially on the kid side, who are being trained to stop at those stop signs who are stopping. This is not meant to be a plan that suddenly forces behaviors onto bicyclists and pedestrians. It's meant to make that road slightly safer than it is in its current form, with no guarantees that accidents won't happen or that people won't run those stop signs. I can't guarantee you that bicyclists aren't going to stop at those stop signs, just like you can't guarantee me that all the cars that are running those stop signs every single day are suddenly going to change their behaviors if those stop signs are there.
I'd like the cars to stop the corner of Liberty and Pine for just once. I sit there and watch them go through that like nothing. Right there, like here.
Yeah, they go through that one quite a bit.
Chris, if this is your phase 1, can you talk a little bit about what phase 2 might look like?
So Darla, we're looking at a couple things right now. We're I don't want to overstate what we're doing, but in parallel with this, we're going to be looking at a couple other areas that people have been asking us about. One is Mountain, the transition from Mountain down into down towards North as the sidewalk ends and it goes down through the S's towards North Devon Lane, I believe. So we're going to be looking at some of those areas too, as some places where we can potentially make some suggestions. I think advisory lanes should be on the table for that. Local Motion has offered to help us in both the front end as well as in the back end of what planning for that would look like, including public outreach to query people, to survey people, as well as to get people to understand how advisory lanes typically function. So that hopefully, if we did move forward with that, whether it was for the end of Mountain or for phase 2 of Pine Street, that hopefully some of that would deal with some of the concerns that the select board had that got us to coming to you with this interim step. The gang from Local Motion has been every other day sending us information on the advisory lane thing, because I think they're firm believers in it. They've seen it work. They've got plenty of groups that they do outreach with across the country that have seen success with it as well. So I think it would be something like that, because again, we're not going to widen Pine Street. We're not going to put in a sidewalk. We're not going to do the traditional things that you would do to make an avenue like that, in quotes, safe, at least for pedestrians, if not cyclists as well.
Thanks, Chris. Ian, did you have a question? I think I cut you off before.
I think I support this. I think it's an excellent idea. As Eric said, if it does change to a pedestrian lane, then perhaps we can revisit. But maybe we try stop signs in these locations for a year, and we use resources that maybe Local Motion has offered to be able to survey people. Maybe the advisory committee with Chris, does a survey over the next year if we agree to put these in, and just see how it improves. I know I myself walk the town a lot and bike with my kids. And I rarely feel safe on Pine Street, given the nature of how narrow the road is and the cars that come down there. And even if the cars aren't moving at speed, it's still a very dangerous situation, especially when you have two and you're always having to look behind you and see what's happening as cars pass by you. So anything that can make cars go slower on that road, I think is a benefit. And I think Peaker's right in terms of people who are using that as to quickly get down and get up Liberty to sort of avoid the intersection may change their minds if there are stop signs. But it'd be interesting just to sort of see what happens if we put those in. You know, it doesn't have to be a permanent thing. I think we could put these up, as Chris said, people understand what a stop sign is. I don't think they're going to blow through it. They're going to see it. They're going to stop. And maybe we just try it for a year and see what happens.
It just occurred to me that in order for the stop signs to be enforceable, the town would need to update its traffic ordinance and list those as signed intersections. Otherwise, you can't do anything about it.
You can stop or blow through them, you can't get a ticket.
Correct.
But that's not hard to change that ordinance.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not hard. It takes time and you have to, there's a 60-day period where somebody
Notice
can,
publication.
yeah, and post it around town for 5.
I mean, this doesn't help with what they're doing.
There,
but
Bruce is back.
Curious as to if we put the stop lines on Munsell, and,
I
like
do
he
put
had
the
on
stop
there
lines on the Munsell when I do my
towards the
paint.
end, and they wear out.
Oh, yeah, the paint, where the tractor trailers come around,
Yeah.
they just scuff them right off.
So even putting the lines on Pine Street's gonna be the same thing, they're not gonna be there.
Yeah, they're gonna scuff that line off on Pine Street when they make that corner with the tractor trailer.
Comments, concerns, Bruce?
Can we move stop signs on those 2 streets down farther?
Come closer.
Whatever you decide to do, we will enforce what we can. I will tell you that sitting on many of the streets, stop signs are not adhered to as much as they should be. But if they see a police car, they come to a complete stop. And same thing with the speed, and we don't sit and hide like behind bushes or trees or buildings, but I haven't seen excessive speed on Pine Street when we sit there. I think for most of the time, people recognize that the street is narrow and they're going to be cautious. There's only a handful of people that walk down, side by side and ignore the traffic when they're walking. But overall, people are cautious, especially if they're from town. So stop signs, you want to put them in there, there'll be more stops and there'll be more tickets for stop signs and you'll hear more complaints about people getting tickets, but it's whatever you want me to do.
Thanks.
One of the things, Chris, that I've seen as I travel around with our camper and my wife is Plainfield, Danville. They got the little signs that say, please slow down like your kids live here. The little plastic pop-up
Yep.
signs.
Chris has one in his yard.
Yes, constantly, yes.
Yeah, and so, but if we could give the kids a ticket to the parents who let their kids play in the road, we'd probably get more ticket fines than that. We would stop sign violations in this village sometimes. Kids are always playing in the road. My dad always said, don't play in the road. We couldn't in North Street. We'd have gotten killed with Peaker going by.
Oh, my parents
No.
used to tell us to go play in the road.
There's a group around about everywhere. You could see with a basketball hoop, they're having a game going on, and you
Yep.
gotta
You
tap
gotta
the
stop and
horn and
wait.
slow down, and then they'll get out
Yep.
the other way, and then they're back at it. So, but
I think I'll end by saying we obviously leave it to the select board to decide what is in the best interests of the town, and the calculations that you all make to arrive at what that is are certainly beyond my ability to understand them. That said, with an effort like this, it is very much about what kind of do we want to continue down the road of making sure cars, which are, for all intents and purposes today, not in any danger of their inhabitants are not in any danger when they're plying the streets of the police district here. Do we want to continue to go down the road of maintaining the status quo for those, or do we want to make sure there's a modicum of additional safety for what every person who moves into the village and into the town as well is sold on. One of the big benefits of Bristol is it's a walkable town, it's a bikeable town, and all of the benefits that come with that type of mentality. I think Pine Street is this fascinating case study where you have both, it's currently being used as a shortcut around town, the main industrial / commercial center is right on Pine Street, and it is also what is called, it is also a critical part of people's biking and walking loops. That's a unique situation, obviously, and I think right now it defaults the cars, vehicle traffic are the only ones that Pine Street is serving right now from the standpoint of, from an infrastructure and safety standpoint. So these are efforts meant to make it just slightly more safe for the rest of the people who use and love Pine Street.
I will only comment is the walkers, yeah, we get a lot on Pine Street.
Yep.
Bicyclists, I don't ever hardly see ever bike go by. I really don't.
You're not home when I go by then.
I don't see a bicyclist very often. I don't see bicyclists very often, compared to the walkers.
That's because they're usually on the main road. I mean, the younger kids might be, but anybody who's a true biker, they're going 116, 17 North Street.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be on the back roads.
Chris, thank you for your work, and thanks for the work of the committee on this.
You're welcome. Thank you for hearing us.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Stuff to think about.
So, I mean, do you want to, are people willing to implement something like this? I'd make a motion and support it and try it for a year to see how it works for us.
I'll go back to my comment about the ordinance needing to be amended, and if the ordinance is amended, it's slightly permanent. I mean, you can unamend it, you can take it out again, but once it's in there, you're probably not going to do that. And you can choose not to enforce it by if you wanted to take the signs back down and not go through the effort of amending the ordinance to take that out, you can still be in there, but if you don't put the signs up, you don't enforce it. So I don't want to forget the ordinance part of the process.
Yeah, right.
Darla, could we ask, is there any comments from the public on the screen or in the audience?
Absolutely. Any ideas, thoughts on this from folks who use the roads? Beth, go ahead.
I have actually used it in the winter, and I did find that down near the bakery place, it was a little more touchy than the rest of it. The rest of it was fine, but I don't know, it might have been the time of day, but there was more than one truck that was unloading, and there were people walking their dogs one way, and we were going another way, and it was snowy and slippery, but, it was just that one spot.
Jimmy's.
Jim, go ahead.
First of all, it's typical what you guys do. A small group comes up with a situation and boom, form a committee. I don't recall of many accidents of pedestrians or bicyclists getting hit in that area. I think Bruce can back me up on that one. This is a seasonal thing. The amount of people that use this, very rare. I travel that area a lot myself. And I slow down when I see people, like cars coming the other way, slow down. I think it's a waste of money and time. We should be thinking about more important things to worry about. A possible few people that are going to use this. Let's not just jump into something and put up signs and change ordinances, waste of time. The people mean well, but they're all on their own agenda. They're all into the bicycle thing, and that's their thing to do. But I don't think we should change the whole purview of the whole area for that. That's my opinion.
It's Jim. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes.
One thing, a tractor trailer is almost impossible to fit on Pine Street, any other street than Liberty Street. When you get to the end of Pine, you get to the end of any one of those streets, you need to be completely in the left-hand lane to make a right-hand turn. And then traffic can't turn, you're all screwed up. Liberty Street is pretty good because you can see all the way down past Joel's house. Then you can put the tractor out in the other lane, whoop like this, and you're right around there fine. if that was designated a truck route, didn't let them come in from North Street, because then they get all goofed up. Anyone doesn't know where they're going, they're trying to get to the bakery, they're going in the wrong way.
They have to get
So
to
if
the.
the truck route was Liberty Street only, that would, I think, eliminate most of the truck problems. And I think you have a good idea, Joel, of 25 miles an hour. I don't think there's a problem with speed on that road, but that makes, when you see a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone, you automatically think, I need to go slower. But the stop signs, I'm thinking, geez, like people are not gonna pay any attention to that, stopping at Munsell, stopping again at Maple. But
For the minutes, can you please identify yourself?
Paul Jackman,
Oh, thank you.
And there has been tractor trailers, only one can back in at the bakery at a time, there's been another one between there and the corner waiting, or.
Yeah.
Because they can't go beyond the bakery, because then they block the entrance to the Mountain Health Center.
Where do they back in? They back in from
The
Pine,
loading
right?
dock right
It's
there.
on Pine.
Yeah.
It's on Pine. They have, normally they come out from Munsell and go, or come out from Liberty. And I know when they used to go True Value with Martin's and now Aubuchon's, they will come unload on the west side of Martin's, of course, or Aubuchon's now, and then go up by Darrell's, go up West Pleasant, and then go back out to Munsell. But that's a tough turn to, by
That's a tough turn.
Uncle Gerald's, that's a tough turn to head west to turn.
Yeah. Well, it's tough when they unload at Maple Fields.
Yeah. Any further, do we need to take any action? We have a motion from Ian. Do we want to discuss this at a later time? How do we want to proceed?
I'm really not big on the stop signs. I mean, if they go up, they'll never come back down. You know, that's just how I feel. I mean, even if we do the pedestrian lanes, they'll never come back down, if that's.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect they would. If they went up, they won't come back down.
Right. One thought would be like, if you know, he's got, the proposal is to do a stop sign at Munsell and Pine and Maple and Pine. What if you do one stop sign like at Munsell going west and one stop sign at Maple coming east? So it's not like a three-way stop, but like a two-way stop. I don't know if that's, I'm just trying to figure out, it's like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, you know?
I mean, we already have that on Pleasant. Do people not respect the stop signs heading Pleasant? That's our longest
To me,
stretch.
Pleasant's different because they're four-way intersections. They're not they're not a T intersection.
Sure.
I mean, they're a four-way intersection. So, you know, to me, that's, I just have a different mindset.
And if you remember, when we were discussing the speed limits, that we had people on Maple Street that wanted us stop the traffic coming off west and head out Maple was going too fast, and they wanted stop signs at the corner of Maple and Church going both ways, or coming up from West Street, they wanted to stop sign
Well, they
there.
also got Elm and Taylor.
And Elm and Taylor.
Right.
Taylor and Pleasant.
Yeah, Taylor and Pleasant. Well, there is a
There is a
stop,
stop
yeah,
sign.
well,
Well,
the Elm, not Pleasant.
Not
Yeah.
on Pleasant.
Pleasant,
Right.
no.
So,
Well, we've gone well beyond our allotted time on this subject. So just wondering what's the pleasure of the board here to move forward? And I also just want to say again that we asked Chris's committee to come up with a suggestion. This isn't just a citizen group that came forward and said, we want to do this. This is a town committee that we asked for their input. So I just want to make that point.
No, I understand that. It's not like we're
No,
nixing their ideas
No,
or
no, and I
we're
wasn't
putting
saying
back,
that
but.
for you, Michelle. I was
Yeah.
saying that for the general public who may not know that.
I mean, for me, I guess I'd just like to think about it a little bit and see how I really feel, because right now I'm not for putting that many
them all
more
up.
stop signs on.
So should we put this on an agenda for a later time
I
to revisit it?
think hearing the other side of it and people being upset about it, I think that originally I proposed stop signs on every intersection in Bristol to slow people down, figuring that, and it did, it raised a stir, and it's still a sticking point, but maybe Michelle's idea of one eastbound and one westbound at different intersections would be a way to start. And see,
I don't know if that would make more of a mess, you know, with somebody, if you got one on a Maple and they have to stop coming east, but the other one doesn't, it's like, that may create more chaos, I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I wouldn't be in favor of that. If you're
Yeah,
gonna put a stop sign, you put, you know, all
always.
directions
Yeah.
at each intersection. I think that is less confusing.
You ever driven down Park Street, Route 73 in Brandon then?
Mhm.
Because High Street and one-way Park Street's got a stop sign, the other one, they got a sign up. Traffic coming from the west
Doesn't stop.
does not have to stop.
Chris, did you want to say something else?
No, I'm just actively listening. No.
Okay, no, I just saw you pop back on, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to check in. All right, so it sounds like we'll.
well, we got a rise out of Bruce anyway.
He was getting his supper.
There we go.
Getting his supper.
All right, so it sounds like we'll think on this a little bit, put it on an agenda for another time.
Do you have a point of order? Because there's already a motion on the.
There was no
There
second.
was no
There was no
second.
second, thank you. Okay,
Well, in terms of another time, do we want to set a benchmark? Because it'll be easy to
let it
just
drop
let it
off.
just fade.
Well, if we have to, if we choose to go that route and we have to do an ordinance and everything, if we wait too long, it'll be winter before it happens.
So within the next.
Yeah,
month?
but if we have to change the ordinance, the best time to change it would be over the winter, because there's not as many people on the road.
True. True.
Because there's a time frame for doing all that.
60 days?
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Within
it's in
60
public
days,
and
or 60, is that what you're saying? Revisit it again within that time frame, or?
Well, 60
No, we're
days
just
is what
saying,
it takes to do it.
Gotcha.
To do the ordinance, and that would be the time to do it, is when there are less people on the road, but. Because if we start it now, it's not gonna be done for the summer. If we go that way, yeah.
Right. So if we look at, the next meeting would be July 10, the meeting after that is July 24. Do you want to revisit it within that time frame?
Or fall.
Or fall?
I would say fall, for me, I would just say fall.
I don't have a lot of meetings.
What's our September meeting?
11 and 25.
No. You can do it on the 11th when I'm not here, and then you won't have nothing.
And it would be good to, if time is going to be put on this, to do it before budget kicks in.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to, well, just from my point of view, if we're doing new signs, extra signs, they should be budgeted for and not come out of
Your budget
the
line.
normal budget line.
Don't you have a sign line item though, don't you do?
Yeah,
Right, that we
but I
can-
don't wanna take new signs out of what I gotta repair signs line, so they need to be budgeted in
As
that
new
line
signs.
item.
Right.
Okay,
Extra,
well, we do,
or- yeah,
your
extra.
budget does have a large amount that was put in a year and a half ago for the
No,
North
not-
Street.
not for, pavement marking.
Okay,
And that money's gone, because we can't carry over that budget. That's in the, if it didn't get spent on something
The
else, that's in the
unassigned
unassigned funds, yeah.
well, at least we know we've got that in our unassigned funds.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so looking at those dates in September, I'm gonna say the 25th.
Works for me.
You really want me here?
Sorry,
huh?
Michelle, but I do.
Yeah, nice. Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate your work
Thank you,
on this.
Chris.
Yes, thank you,
Appreciate your
Chris.
time.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for your comments too. All right. Moving on. Follow up on the Notch Road neighborhood complaints and demands for zoning enforcement regarding Masterson's construction activities. I'm going to ask if there's new information to be shared with the board and that we not, review what's already been said.
Well, let me read my statement.
Was that the one you already read, Tom, or is this the new one?
This is a new one. Okay, I live on, my name is Tom Fox, I live on the Notch Road, and I am considered a person of interest in the conditional use permit application of Masterson's Development Properties LLC, call me applicant. I am here to request that the select board instruct the zoning administrator to collect fees for the applicant for beginning a project that requires a permit before the permit was issued. This project was in fact begun before the permit application was filed. Fees listed on the zoning permit application are $160 for commercial industrial construction. The penalty fee for development without a permit is listed as 4 times the permit fee, or $640. There is no discretion on the zoning permit application for the zoning administrator to not impose or to reduce this fee. The penalty fee is in addition to the application fee. And if the applicant paid the application fee of $160 when the application was filed, apparently 2 years before the project, 2 years after the project was begun, the applicant must also pay the additional $640 fee. The applicant stated that the business is currently in operation. The applicant stated that the business is currently in operation at the May 30th, 2023 DRB meeting, Development Review Board. I am also here to request that the Select Board instruct the zoning administrator to fine the applicant for operating a business without a permit. The business in question has been operating for an extended period of time, as judged by some adjoining landowners to be in excess of 2 years. I'm not an adjoining landowner, but I am an interested person. The allowable fine listed in the Town of Bristol Unified Development Regulations, called the plan, is up to $100 per day per offense. This could accrue to a maximum fine of approximately $35,000 to $75,000, depending upon how the period of operation and the level of fine is computed. I am also here to request that the Select Board instruct the zoning administrator to direct the applicant to immediately cease all business-related operations at the Lower Notch Road site, because it's not permitted. The plan, that's the Town of Bristol Unified Development Regulations, section 310 states that the zoning administrator shall administer these regulations literally and shall not have the power to permit any land development that is not in conformance with these regulations. In my opinion, not imposing these fees and penalties violates section 310. The applicant is in persistent and defiant violation of the plan to the detriment of the neighborhood. Neighbors of the site listed some of their complaints at the May 30th Development Review Board meeting. To not find the applicant for plan violation or imposing a weak penalty invites the applicant and others to violate the plan now and in the future. This is an issue for the current and future development in Bristol. Financial loss incurred by the applicant due to fines and penalties or lost business because of Select Board or zoning administrator action may not be taken into account by the Select Board or the zoning administrator when deciding this matter. The fines and penalties are designed to discourage violation. There is no provision in the plan for financial consideration because of plan violation. Please consider these talking points when making your decision. Please include this document in tonight's Select Board meeting minutes. Respectfully, Thomas Fox.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome. Any questions?
That was the one you already submitted in, right, Tom?
No, what
No,
I
it's
submitted,
different.
what I submitted was kind of bullet points.
Oh, I thought you had submitted one after the meeting the
Yeah.
other day. Was that the same?
No,
No.
it's
That's
different.
something to
Okay.
What I
Okay.
submitted to get on the
Agenda.
agenda were bullet points.
Okay.
Tom, did you speak, at the May 30th, as you stated,
Yes,
Yes,
the
you
May
did.
3rd DRBB, you didn't state your concerns with the
I
DRB?
did not state these concerns, but these are not the same concerns that I stated at the Development Review Board meeting. All right, what we talked about there were noise, hazards, things like that. What I'm asking for here is for the zoning administrator to enforce the regulations, all right? This is not a Development Review Board matter in that regard. It's a zoning administrator matter. I don't know if you get the difference here.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm asking for the zoning administrator to do the job.
And do you have any other, better term, proof that he's in violation now than what he stated at the May 30th meeting?
Yes, all right, so.
Physical eye contact.
So what he's in violation of, according to this, what I'm asking for, is that he's in violation of beginning construction of a permitted business. He's, something that he has to have a permit from the Development Review Board to start construction, right? He's in violation of that. And he doesn't have a permit, and at the May 30th Development Review Board meeting, he stated that the business is operating, and some of my neighbors are well aware of that because of noise and other issues from the business. And he doesn't have a permit to operate a business. He's operating a business without a permit. He started construction of the business without a permit. And that's what I'm asking for, is for the zoning administrator to fine him for those things and to tell him he has to stop operating the business until he gets the permit.
Okay, so Tom, he's already ceased and desist. He's already been told. First of all, he was told by the state Act 250 to cease and desist. He did. Now, I understand, wait a minute, Tom, let me finish, okay. We understand he started stockpiling, which we were not aware of. The zoning minister wasn't aware of. That got, once he did the meeting the other day, once he applied for the permit, they told him to cease and desist. And he has not, they have moved all operations off from there. They aren't doing any business up there at this point. Okay, so that we can't retroactively fine him. That we can't. The statute requires that you have to do a notice of violation, that he would have 7 days to correct that violation. Right now, he doesn't have a violation because he's in the process of getting all the permits. He's not operating a business there right now. He could appeal that decision. It would go to the DRB board. He could then, if they agree with if they agreed with the notice of violation we did, could then appeal it to the E-board. So each of those would take a time period. In the meantime, there's nothing you can do. If we were to fine him $100 a day, the E-board can say, we'll fine him, but we're not doing it $100. They can determine what that violation is. But that's up to the E-board.
That's correct.
Right.
They
can decide that.
That is just the
Right.
maximum.
Right.
All right,
Right.
so, at minimum, the zoning application says there's a fee, 4 times, read this here, fees, penalty fee, development without a permit is 4 times the fee, and the fee is $160. So at minimum, you should be fined $640. Now, I know it's a slap in the wrist, but it's what?
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, the fact is, though, he's in the process of becoming in compliance, and that's the whole point of zoning, is to make sure they're in compliance, get the permits they need if they're not aware, and get in compliance. So they're doing that. If we were to fine him, which I don't know that we'll do, but if we were to decide that, and he appeals that, we'd have to go to court to get all those funds. And then you have to weigh the.
I want to be on record here that
I understand what you're saying. I mean, I just, as a board, I don't know that we're willing to go to that point, since he's in the process of becoming in compliance. That's just what I'm saying, is he's basically had his hands slapped. The state could fine him, the Act 250 could fine him. And I don't know that they will, I don't know they won't. Right now, they're waiting on the town to make a decision on the DRB before they issue their permit. They're already in the process of issuing a permit.
So, to not fine him encourages him. So as far as I'm concerned, he's been in, and I don't want to use the word flagrant, there should be another word. He's been in defiance of the zoning ordinance, all right, for over 2 years.
Well, we can't say it's 2 years, because first of all, he was building his house, he was putting in his road. I understand that there was a complaint made in fall of 2020 with an Act 250, and they came down because he was putting in his, whatever it was, the gravel yard, whatever it was. And they told him to cease and desist, which he did.
All right, so there's, I have it here, if I want to dig it out, but there was a statement made at the DRB meeting that he's been operating that yard for more than 2 years.
I didn't hear that in the DRB meeting, though. I mean, it's fine if you said that, I listened to it, but.
I didn't say it.
No, I mean, if it was in there in the meeting, I just didn't hear that, him say that.
Well,
But
he did say that. All right, so
he does have a business.
one of the other neighbors who testified at that meeting said that he's been operating a business for more than 2 years. Anecdotally, someone I know called the town hall shortly after he began the business and complained about the noise and was told that there's nothing we can do about it. He can do whatever he wants to back there. It's an anecdote, I can't prove it. And so the business has been operating for a number of years, unpermitted. And if the zoning administrator, and the reason I'm here is because the zoning administrator works for the board. If the zoning administrator doesn't do something, then it encourages other people to disregard the zoning rules, to do whatever they want, and not be deterred from doing it. And it allows him to be in defiance of the zoning regulations and do whatever he wants.
If I could jump in?
Please jump in.
I'm recalling that communication from 2020. And I was contacted by the person you're making reference to. And I believe what the zoning administrator said was that he did not find that the activity that was going on warranted a permit at that time. Whatever reasoning was, I don't know exactly what the reasoning was, I don't remember it, I don't have it in front of me. But the bottom line is the zoning administrator at that time made a determination that the activity did not require approval by the Development Review Board at that time. I shared that information with the person that you're referring to, and I also suggested if the person disagreed that was an appealable decision of the zoning administrator, that the person could have filed an appeal to the Development Review Board of that determination, and I provided information to that person about how to do it. The form, the application form, the appeal form. I'm not aware that ever, they chose to do that, but that was an option that existed at that time. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, so anyway, we have some history that activity has been proceeding back there for a long time without a permit. I will suggest that some of my neighbors who are sitting here are aware of that activity, and anecdotally know that it should not be happening, right? It should, without a permit. And the act of providing a permit by the Development Review Board is a separate issue from what I am asking you to consider tonight.
Valerie, can I just get, I'll ask a clarifying question for my sense here. You said you were told that it didn't require a permit from the DRB 2 years ago, or it didn't require a permit at all?
No, it didn't require a permit.
If I'm recalling correctly, the activity
Clearing trees and building a road.
that and that the house was under construction, that the person was building their house. And so a lot of that activity and earth moving and landscaping and all that stuff was associated with the house itself, and that no additional permitting was required at that time. And I believe that's what the reference was about.
May I ask then, when was the house permit granted?
2020.
2020.
Okay.
May of 2020.
And we were forwarded a curb cut application for a house in May of 2020 that somehow
got lost in the scheme of things and just didn't move forward, but an application had been filed in May of 2020 for a curb cut for a single-family house at that time. It didn't come before the board because it got lost on this end.
Okay, so anyway, I have said my piece, and you must consider that.
I guess I have a question for you, Valerie, or maybe from Chris later on, is you mentioned it 4 times, so the permit cost is $160. You didn't, guess, take that out, didn't file a permit. So the
Well, he
neighbors.
did file a permit.
did
He has filed a
did file
permit.
a permit.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah,
the
I
4
understand.
times the amount is 160.
No, 4 times.
4 times.
4 times once, whatever the
160,
filing fee.
160, which is 640.
Mhm.
So I call me that train of thought. So Michelle mentioned that we can't find until we find that, okay, you've ceased and desist. But can we just, is the fine they're looking for is $640 just on, you didn't file the paperwork? Not a cease and desist, $100 a day, but just you didn't file the paperwork. That's why I'm asking the question. And I don't know.
I don't know, I have to look at the
Statute.
stuff, yeah. It's possible.
Here's the application.
Yeah, and I've seen these, yeah. They say
The
4
fees.
times the fees.
Yeah, and it doesn't give any time frame. It just says, if you start construction before you have filed the application, there's a fee of 4 times whatever the.
Well, we'll have to ask if he paid that when he filed for his application, because that's when they should have done it.
When he
It's when
files.
he filed for the application.
His
So let's
application
check.
for the contractor's yard.
No, that's
House.
Act 250.
So for the house.
Oh, you're talking about the DRB for the conditional use, yes, that would be the time that he would.
And the question is, can that be retroactively applied at this point?
Well, it's not necessarily retroactively applied. When he applied for the conditional use, then he should have, because he started before he got the permit, then that's when he should have said failure to apply for a permit, therefore your fee is this.
Right, but if that determination had not been made at that time, I think that's your point, right? That
I do not know if that fee was paid when he made
Right.
the application for the permit.
Right.
And if it was not, then it should be now, because it is not retroactively. It's whenever it's discovered.
No, I agree with that. That wouldn't be considered retroactive. That would have been the fine if he had failed to apply when he should have.
right, if he started construction prior to that.
So I can check with Chris.
Thank you,
What
Michelle.
is the definition of construction? Is not building the road to a residence first, then you build.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been it.
Or just stockpiling.
Stockpiling. Because we didn't do anything else there construction wise. So,
With the exception of making a big gravel parking area,
yeah, but that 250 and
which shut it down.
shut it down, yeah.
Can I ask a couple questions? Tom, outside of your requests for fines, are there other issues that you have or that the others present in the room with regarding the project? You know, the town can only do so much, mainly because it's before the DRB now and it's being looked at, as you know. And I guess my suggestion, if you do have concerns of the project going forward, is to continue to attend those meetings as the public and make your voices heard with regard to that. Obviously, the members of the DRB are looking very closely at what the applicant wants to do in that area, and obviously looking towards looking at our zoning regulations to see what he can and can't do. But I guess that would be my suggestion, would be continue to attend those meetings, because I know it's still being reviewed.
Okay, so what I'm asking for, I do have concerns about what he's doing. What I'm asking for here does not address those concerns. That is a matter for the DRB.
Correct.
Okay.
what I'm asking for really are three things: 2 fines and a cease operations. And according to Michelle, may I use
Yes.
her first name?
Sure.
Okay, according to Michelle, that has already been issued,
Mhm.
that they have been told to stop operations, and they have.
You said they had. You said.
Michelle
have.
said they have.
Okay, Michelle. said-
As far as we,
As far as we know,
Yes.
right.
So, I don't know, if
Putting a
if any of
camera.
my neighbors want to comment on that,
They were moving heavy equipment on that site today. I didn't go out and count individual items, but you could certainly hear it. And they have done so on at least a couple of occasions in the past. We worked during the day, so it's hard to tell. But
Yeah, I don't know what kind of heavy equipment he has up there, but I know they were desisting the operations and moving certain stuff out of there, so that may be part of them getting it out.
as I said, I wasn't trespassing and counting. I just hear it from my own property.
so I will say anecdotally again, so there's no proof or there's no,
Mhm.
I can't point the
Right,
finger, but I will say that I went out on Friday,
Mhm.
and there was a dump truck, big dump truck, full of gravel, parked in front of my driveway, talking to the driver of the Casella garbage truck that's going the other way. So I don't know whose dump truck that is, but he was on a notch, full of gravel. And there's no marking on the side of the truck. Like, I thought that there was a state law that said that you had to mark on the truck who the operator was.
Peter said no, Michelle said
No,
no.
okay.
It'd be convenient.
Didn't say the town of Bristol, ours all say the town of Bristol.
No.
Yeah.
They're graveling the road.
I was looking specifically to see whose truck it was,
Mhm.
because I know there's other people who use the road, but there was a truck there, so, you know.
A question for the abutting neighbors that are here in the audience tonight, regarding Act 250, did you receive notice of the Act 250 permit? Okay.
Yes,
Did any of you make comment or attend?
I made comments.
You, Mr. Davis?
Mr. Davis,
Okay,
Matt
thank
Davis.
I
Sorry.
was gonna say, the only one I saw online was yours, so I wasn't sure if anybody else availed themselves to that opportunity. Because that would have been a great place for you to get some of the concerns in there as well. I mean, although I know traffic is the piece they're waiting for the town to do, but if you had noise issues and that would have been the place to
Well, and if I
also do
could
that.
comment just on that point, I think part of the issue for the adjoining property owners and other people in the neighborhood is that this has all been after the fact, essentially. So part of the issue with the Act 250 was that it wasn't clear even what, I didn't have much time to really dig into the weeds in terms of what, I made one call to Josh down at Median, who explained that this was all trying to just get in compliance with what they were doing there, so the state wouldn't fine them. So, I didn't have a lot of time to really get into
But the state
submitting
can deny their
comments.
permit.
Sure,
So-
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, if there was enough of a concern by people, legitimate concerns that they could say, no, you're not getting your permit.
well, there was enough of a concern, I take it, that they said the town needs to review this, and I think the question that I still have, and part of the reason I'm here tonight, is does he even have a curb cut permit at all? Has the select board reviewed that, especially for commercial use of what 100 trucks per day is what they're looking at through the DRB? Or 200, I mean, there was a lot of confusion at the meeting that was never really.
Yeah, you'll probably get more clearer answers at the next meeting on that one, because I know that's what Kevin said they wanted him to do, to come back with numbers, real numbers.
Yes, yeah, and that didn't come up at the meeting. So,
You
I mean,
said
that
was
goes
a
back
curb cut
even
application.
theoretically to 2019, that he's theoretically operating without a
It's
curb cut
2020.
permit. And I don't even, does he have a curb cut permit?
Well, as I mentioned, the residential curb cut permit application, for some reason, just didn't get forwarded to the select board at that time, and it only came to light a long time later. And now that it's in this particular process before the development review board, the thinking is, why go through the residential one now, and just to follow it up with the commercial one, if he gets approval for it. So we decided to just wait and see what happens with the DRB, and then apply for the curb cut at that time. And that's typical for applications, a single-family home, or, the curb cut application typically follows the issuance of a zoning permit, because, it's a permitted use at that point, and then the technicality of getting the actual curb cut approval. The curb cut approval does not usually happen before the zoning permit gets issued.
And if the permit was filed, we only have so many days to act on it. If we don't act on it, it's considered approved, I believe.
The curb cut.
The curb cut.
Yes, we stayed permits.
And not that it wouldn't have been approved, but it got lost in the shuffle.
Eric goes out, sees the site, measures the site, you know, where it's gonna, they mark it out where it's gonna go, and he makes sure he's got sighted at distance, right, Eric? I don't put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
Sight distance both ways, sitting in a car or a truck, make sure you can see people coming out, and people coming up to that curb, can see coming in. We require some requirements for that.
I'm sure, that's,
Yeah, so I think tonight is just a board, I mean, first of all, Michelle, we heard you guys 2 weeks ago, and she's done a lot of research on this, but anyway, I mean, kudos to her, she's done a lot of research on it. I'm not comfortable doing anything for the DRB, let that thing take its course, but this will just decide whether we're gonna fine or not, because of an application
Failure to file.
failure to file.
Well, we can't make that decision.
No, we can't make that
Yeah, I have
decision
some
tonight.
time, correct.
That's what.
Do some digging.
yeah, I don't think that I'm asking you to make that decision, I'm asking you to.
Ask the
Take in
zoning
consideration.
administrator to
No,
look into it.
ask the zoning administrator, I know it's Chris, to look into that.
Yeah.
If he did
Yep.
not pay that fine, to pay the
Yep.
fine, and if he can be fined for operating a business without a permit, that he'd be fined for that.
Thank you very much, Tom, for your comments tonight. Did anyone else want to comment before we move on? We have gone over our allotted time limit here, but that's
Yeah, I
okay.
know, it's trying to be
I have
quick.
a quick question.
Sure.
I don't, which permit precedes, I mean, which one has precedence, the town or the Act 250?
They need both. Okay, so,
But because they're not the same, that's why.
right, so the Act 250 basically is the state, and they actually have more teeth to
No,
go
but I mean,
after.
the permits themselves that they're requesting are not the same.
No,
So, in one, it says that there would be a commercial building, and in one, it doesn't.
no.
So that's why.
The town permit right now is only for the contractor's yard. This is my understanding, that he's only applying for the conditional use for the contractor's yard. He at some point is thinking he may put a shop on there. If he does that, he has to come back for another permit.
I think the other, one of the permits, whether it be from the state or the town, if it's not from the town, it must be from the state, does refer to a building. a
Right,
commercial
which
building.
would make total sense for him to get that permit all in one, so that he doesn't have to go back and do an amendment to the Act 250 permit. Doesn't mean he's gonna do it, but he might get the Act 250 permit for both, for the contractor's yard and eventually the.
And that would apply to the
Shed.
town too.
He would have to come back to the town
You still have
for,
to come back.
Oh,
to
I
build
see.
that, to build the building, because he's not getting conditional use for that building.
I see, thank you.
Okay.
So at the May 30th meeting, I know we're running over, sorry. The engineer who did the presentation, Greg, said that they were not, at this time, looking for a permit for that building.
Right. If he was gonna, if and when he does decide to do that, he would have to come back
Through the DRB.
through the
Through the
DRB, right?
DRB.
Yeah.
I'm Keith Schnell, I'm a budding landowner. I'd just like to point out that while there is some dispute as to exactly when, on what date the construction yard began operation, Masterson did admit under oath at the May 30th meeting that he was operating without a permit. That's a factual, unless he perjured himself, that is factually indisputable.
No, he said he was stockpiling, so yes, he did.
Thank you all for coming in this evening. And did you all have the opportunity to sign in, so we have you on the list? Thanks so much.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Eagle Park.
All right, I can be quick on this one.
You done?
Are you leaving?
What else is on the agenda?
Eagle Park.
Yeah, so as I noted in
And
my
that's it.
report, that we did not receive any bids at the bid opening last week for Eagle Park. We had communication today with FEMA folks, FEMA and state folks, and they confirmed that unless the project is built, that there will be no FEMA funds to cover any of the expenses. My question then was, at the time was, where do we go from here? Because our grant agreement was extended to December of this year to complete the project, but given where we are in the bidding year, we can either try to go out to bid again and get the same results, or what do we do? And the feedback I got was that it is possible to extend it, the grant agreement, for more time, and there would be solid basis to approve that. But if we stop and don't complete the project, then there's no
lose the funds.
reimbursement. Yeah, it's all or nothing. So that's where we're at.
If they extend it, are they saying they'll extend it because we weren't able to get somebody to bid?
Correct, yeah.
Now, let's go
I
that
wonder if
route.
we can ask whoever gets the bank stabilization if they're interested.
Yeah, that's an option, and the select board has that choice to a sole source, or make whatever determination you need to make in the best interest of the town. Yeah, and on that score, the Lincoln Road project is out to bid today. It was published today. It's going to be in this week's Addison Independent and 7 days. It's on the state bid system right now. Tomorrow I'll be posting it to the website. So that's moving forward. What did I say here?
Is that
bid opening
Val?
for that project. There's a pre-bid site meeting on Tuesday, July 11th. The bids are due on July 21, and we're hoping to have that on the July 28th select board agenda for action. So we're trying to move that forward.
Ian has a question.
Val,
Go ahead,
what
Ian.
the Lincoln Road project, can you remind me which one that is? Is that the
Between
bank?
Bartlett's and that piece of property between Bartlett's and Circle Current.
The Riverbank
Between
stabilization.
Bartlett
Okay.
and.
Oh, that's right, Bartlett's
and Eagle Park.
Okay.
Eagle Park. Yeah.
There's
And
like
then,
3
and then
spots.
and then will paving come after that? Is that on our docket for?
That's the
at some point?
plan.
Okay, but
It
it's
probably
that-
won't be this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll probably be.
Patch paved and only.
Yeah, because by the time they get their construction done and grinding and then it probably won't have time before winter.
Yeah.
So
No, it makes
it'll probably
sense.
be moved off until, May or whatever, and then we can have them grind it and build it and pave it and.
Yep.
No, the reason I bring that up is because we previously discussed about perhaps moving that stop sign or re-sighting it a little bit differently to allow for better intersection access and getting out onto 116. And that was going to be connected with us doing the paving. So I don't want to forget that. So if it's next year, which is understandable, that's fine. With regard to the Eagle Park bid process, Val, any ideas why we didn't receive any bids? Is it a very specific project?
Well, it is, and Roy Schiff, the engineer, is going to reach out to the folks that were there at the pre-bid meeting. 4 different contractors were at that, and he's going to reach out and say, why didn't you submit a bid?
Good.
We're trying to get their feedback.
Yeah.
We
It could have been timeframe. It
We
could have been-
suspect it could have been, the bad time of year. Maybe the project wasn't large enough for the folks.
Okay.
That, or maybe they, there could be.
Tell
any
them this
number.
other one's coming up too. Tie them together.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So that's the update.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
And just to close the loop on that, is it safe to say that the select board still would like us to continue working on the Eagle Park project and keep trying?
Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
And washes out.
Yeah, if we
again.
don't
Washes
do
out
something
again,
with that,
I'll move it.
if we don't stabilize that rock, we're gonna lose the whole thing, so it'll be $500,000 down the drain.
Right, and it seems like we have the plan. We also have the ability to get FEMA money for that. So if we can, let's take advantage of that and hopefully get it to a point where it won't wash away. We won't have other issues with it.
Right. Thank you. That's all I had on that.
Do people really use that?
Oh,
I mean,
gosh,
do
yeah.
they?
People
Really?
are on
I've
it
never
all
seen
the
anybody
time.
on it.
Every
I see
single
people
time
up
I've been
there
there
a lot.
with the FEMA folks and whatnot, and even at the pre-bid meeting, I have photos that of folks using
Fishing
that.
or?
Yes,
diving?
yeah.
I mean, it's good to know that they use
Good.
it, but.
Glad they're using it.
Well, when Pete
Even now in
Domenico
its
was
current
alive,
state.
yeah, when Pete Domenico was alive, he used to organize a fishing day for, handicapped folks and all of that. And so you'd see people in their wheelchairs and different abilities. And so that was always really nice. And I don't know if anyone's picked that up since Pete passed away or
Probably
not,
not.
but.
Probably not.
Well, you can't get there right now.
Well, it's
can
true, you can't get, probably not, Peter, probably not.
If you do, you're liable to be handicapped when you come back out.
All right, review and approval of the May 8th, May 22, May 24, and June 12 meeting minutes.
I make a motion, we approve all those meeting minutes with whatever changes we've given. I know I reviewed all of them. I think I gave the last one to you today.
And I
You
gave
did
you a
something.
change last 2 weeks ago on
Yeah.
one thing.
You
so-
mentioned it during the meeting, I didn't have them written down to make notes, but we can look at the.
Look at the meeting
Yeah,
minutes or the.
It was a word that was.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
So did Joel second that?
Yeah.
No, Peaker seconded.
Peter seconded it. Michelle made the motion.
Gotcha.
Okay. Authorize accounts payable warrant and any liquor licenses or tobacco
I
licenses.
don't think there's any licenses.
Warrants are $55,822.40.
Is that the updated one from today?
Yeah, because it was
Yes,
46.
that's the
when it
one
comes
Got what we
through.
put on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it says increased.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Hey, Ian, there's a bunch of things for you to sign down here.
Gotta ride your bike down. Bring it in.
Yeah.
I
Go
will.
over Pine Street though.
And there weren't any liquor licenses, so we don't
No,
need to
I
make a
didn't.
motion on that tonight. Select Board Roundtable. Michelle?
I just have one question, and it's probably for Ian and Val. With Pocock being canceled to August, do all your people that do special events, can we pre-approve them, or do they have to resubmit?
Good question.
Good answer.
Good answer.
I have no,
was just
I have,
thinking
I
if
have
you
no
put
idea.
like
I'm not
words,
sure
just-
if at the state level, they can just move the date, or because the permit wasn't used, if they can move it. I'm not sure.
Well, it's
That
just-
would be,
Can we just?
It's a special
approve them?
events permit through the town, right?
Correct.
So it doesn't have anything to do with the state, so can we, I'm just saying, do they really need to reapply?
Can we save them a step?
I
would, yeah, just like, no.
I would think the state has to know what's happening.
Previous ones
Exactly.
we approved can be approved.
Yeah, because they got.
So what do we do? Can we approve them and then we let the state know that we've changed the dates on them, or do they have to really reapply?
We might want to ask Sharon that
Yeah.
question, and we could
yeah,
approve them.
Sharon will probably know the answer. I mean, it's through us, but it's through the DLC. They're the
Right.
ones that are doing it. We just
Yeah.
do the approval. But we do know that we don't need approval at the state level to close the road. The select board is able to do that, which is great. I'm glad they told us
Voting on
now,
June
since we've
26th,
been
I
doing
don't know
that for the
about-
last 10 years, applying to the state to close the road. And now we're told in year 11 that we actually don't need to apply to them.
I argued that for years with the 4th of July, we used to have to file for a permit to close the road. And I said, they tell us it's our road when we want them to fix it. But
Yeah.
when we want to do something, they tell us it's their
I know.
road.
Oh,
I know.
somebody's already put their sign up by Rocky Ridge,
What?
Route 116.
Oh,
Orange
that's
state sign.
Starksboro or Heinsberg.
Well, no, it says Bristol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from 10:45 to, or 10:30 to,
Yeah, probably the 4th of July committee, I would
Must
say.
be.
yeah. Yeah.
Anything
Bruce,
else?
you're all set with that? I mean, you're okay with August 19th? Nothing else going on?
Okay. Michelle, anything else?
No, I think that was all I had.
Joel?
I've had a few people mention it to me, and I know Mount Abe has a policy. Should we look at, when we have big events coming up on the park, 4th of July, is no dogs? You know, more people get bit by dogs that never bit anybody.
It's a stressful situation for
It's
dogs.
stressful for the dogs and everything, and, oh, he's never done that before. You know, if somebody gets bit, who are they gonna go after?
I think,
You know, Mount Abe, you can't bring a dog to a sporting event,
you can't anymore?
outside.
I think in the,
They must recently change that.
in the most recent July 4th information that went out, there was a piece in there about leaving dogs at home. that was
Yeah.
specific to the events on the park. And I'm hoping that people will obviously do that. We've
And
never
it
had
might
any
be on the
specific
park
language of,
application.
No,
Oh,
No,
interesting.
I was thinking at one point, or maybe it was on posters, we used to put please no dogs.
Yeah, my
We've
God,
never been-
there's a
we've never been
firecracker with a
specific.
rock piece in my lap. It's like,
we've never been specific for Pocock, but we can be, because I do think that's a good suggestion. And we have had dogs there before that interact with other dogs, and it hasn't been a good situation.
No.
So I do think that's a good idea, Joe.
You know, and Michelle, you know, those deep pockets, who's got the deepest pockets around here? Well, who rented the park? Who owns the park? And, you know, old town Bristol. Oh, I think we'll put them at the top of the lawsuit, because I got bit or our child got bit, and now it's.
Well, that's why we always
Just-
ask for the insurance policy with
Just
Bristol
think
as a
we ought to
name
have a
insured.
policy, if you're gonna rent the park, for an open event, you can't bring your dog. Or stays home.
Well, we could make it part of the application process.
I'm not saying this year we can't do it, it's too.
No, but we could
just
talk
a
to
week.
Meredith about changing the application. It
8
wouldn't
days
be-
from today, we'll have the 4th, but.
I mean, although you can't stop the service dogs. But
You
there's-
No,
know,
you can't stop the
yeah,
services.
everything but us, yeah.
So, but that's all I had.
I mean, I walk my dog around town. If there's something going on, we might stop by, but I don't, she's skittish enough. I mean, she's still a puppy, so we don't bring her into big, really stressful situations, because it's no good for her, it's no good for me, it's no good for anybody else.
That's all I had.
She's not bigger than me, but it's close.
I think it would mainly be for events that we know are going to be very well attended. July 4th would be one, Harvest Festival would be another, and Pocock would be another. I mean, Pocock uses the whole street, so it's a little bit more open than the park, let's say. But I definitely have been at those events, and people bring their dogs, and those dogs get into confrontations either with other dogs, which is the biggest thing. It's less about people getting bitten, but just dogs seeing other dogs and starting to start some stuff. So yeah, it's definitely, and I'm not, I like dogs a lot, but I don't mind them not being there, especially if it's absolutely packed with people.
Yeah.
I bet you a dog officer would appreciate it too.
I bet there'll still be people who will bring their dogs.
Wait a minute, we have a dog officer? I didn't know that.
It doesn't belong, it doesn't mean me.
Right.
So I'm sure somebody from the board will volunteer to be there to help enforce that.
No, I don't mean we need to be a dog police, but just put it out there, we don't allow.
Yeah.
And then does that cover our butt if they get in a fight, and, you see lawsuits for everything now, and.
Just assume that nothing will cover our butt, since we're a municipality.
Pretty much.
Right.
I'm good.
They're good. Okay. I don't have anything other than to say the lake in front of my house is getting bigger. And we've had a lot of rain lately, but there have been, folks, that's the side that folks walk on a lot. I don't know if there's anything that can be done for it.
Tell them to wear their flippers.
Yeah. It's a splash zone is the bigger issue. It's not even so much where it's.
The problem is right there is the road is actually sunk.
Yeah.
Lower than what the drain is. I mean, we've shoveled it before, and you still end up leaving yay much water in there after it drains. There's still a puddle.
Need a sump pump, huh?
You raise your own.
Hey, make a note of that, let the listeners know that Darla's got lakefront property.
Great, there goes my taxes.
I don't know.
She said it.
Yeah, there's
We heard
lakefront
her,
property
lake.
out here, right where the entryway is, in that little corner, there was a big pond out there when I walked in tonight.
My cat drinks out of it, so that's the,
Oh,
that's the biggest thing. But that's the only thing I had on
Yeah,
it.
we take a look at it and see. It probably, the path to it probably needs shoveling out again.
Get out like Middlebury does and buy a load of or hot mix, and they.
Well, we're gonna do that. We're gonna hot mix the intersection of, Spring and, Fitch and North.
Yeah, that dip.
That dip, we're gonna cut that out and then repave it.
Oh, good.
And then we'll have extra, I'll make sure we got extra so we can add some in that area right there to hopefully bring it up to
That'd be great.
get the water to drain.
That'd be great.
But that probably won't be until August.
I guess I already went by me, but Eric, do you have any paving scheduled for this August and July?
No.
July and August or September, no?
Nope. No, because, the reason for that is Lincoln Road is over 200,000 to do that.
To pave it?
To pave it. not including the grinding or anything like that.
So he's saving his money.
So I'm saving the.
No, I just was wondering.
Great. All right, I think that's everybody.
Did you
Oh,
just-
Nope.
Ian, no, I forgot to
Me.
ask Ian.
I have two things. So a couple of ARPA updates.
Just kidding.
I can't even get 10 minutes tonight. ARPA update. So Coco continues to attempt to find her septic system at the library, and
I went and showed her where it was.
You were unfortunately wrong. It's in the middle of the road, apparently. That's
Yeah, I told her it's 20 feet off the building straight out, probably in the middle of the road, because when I did it, the elevator shaft wasn't there.
She said that, I thought you said it was underneath the shed or something. Anyway, they found it. It's in the middle of the road, and they're saying that they can't put in a easy access vent because it's in the road. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
There isn't a way to secure like with a plate or something?
They could, well, how
just
deep
paved
is it?
that,
It's
didn't
not
they?
that deep.
Didn't you just
I don't think so. It's just
It's
the
only-
position of it.
No, it's in the
driveway.
driveway.
Driveway, not the road.
Yes.
That's what I was
Sorry, the
saying.
driveway. Apologies.
Do whatever you want, the damn driver, I don't care.
Yeah, it's not.
Have a good vacation, Eric.
Yes.
Thank you, Eric.
Enjoy yourself and don't worry about Bristol. Picker will take care of it. He'll spend money like a drunken sailor. Don't worry.
I'm sorry, I ain't got any left.
It's the end of the month.
That's right.
So can you put something there? I worry about them having to dig it up every time they want to empty it, which
Well,
seems like a terrible idea.
They make a 1 foot concrete riser that the cap sets on, but I don't, being it's in the driveway, I wouldn't
want-
recommend it.
Okay.
You don't want cars driving over the top of it.
Well, they're already driving over the top of it. I don't want to move the cover up because that's just a thin wall. It's like 1.5 inch concrete.
So it's just gonna crack.
And I don't think it'd hold up to vehicles going over it.
I see.
When I put it in, it was on the edge of the driveway because they didn't want them driving over the tank. And then we went and put the elevator in, bumped that out, and they moved the driveway over.
I see. Okay. And the reason I bring that up is because one of the ARPA requests was from the library was the outdoor classroom, and that looked like it was off the table because the septic tank seemed to be in the grassy area. Now it's not in the grassy area. I wonder if that could be put back on the table. And obviously we're talking about that. Since we know where the septic tank is, can we put a structure where the shed is or where they had put up the tent, now that we know that maybe nothing is under there?
Well, the leach field is there, but.
The leach field would be where the building would go.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't cover that. That needs to be vented.
Well, you shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
I mean, it's not.
You know, just food for thought, Ian.
Yep.
It would be another user on the district. There is a pipe all the way to the old fire station from a force main for the sewer system. You know, it ties into the town sewer system. We put that in when Munson came up through in early 2000.
Yeah.
Thinking, because we had a very
capacity.
limited septic system at
Yeah.
the fire station, thinking we'd never build a new building. And we put a force main all the way up to the fire station that ties into the system, going over going over the
The
base.
library's after that though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just
So
after.
how much farther could they
Not
get to
that much.
that?
It's just
You'd have
it's
to
a
go
house.
across Vince's property
Or go
in the
between.
road. It's in the road, I'm sure.
Yeah. Just food for thought.
Yeah, no, that's actually great. Because that could benefit in multiple ways, especially if you're having to dig out the septic
If I
every 6
remember-
years or whatever.
I wasn't on the board then, but I remember them thinking that could always do the fire station, because that one, remember we had that
Well,
tank out in the
we were
garage
gonna
somewhere.
get,
And then we could someday, maybe if the library ever failed, their system failed, we could put another system there, they could tie that in there too.
Okay.
Those 2 town buildings close to by.
well, they were gonna be adjoining properties
Right.
because we were gonna buy that piece of
House.
property in between.
Right. Okay. That's something to look at. One of the other things for ARPA was the Bristol Family Center. We got information back from them that looked like just the sprinkler system itself was about the cost of what we had estimated, which was like 130,000, and that was without construction. And then the potential came in, or the possibility came in, that they'd have to construct a whole tank to be able to hold the water for the sprinkler system, since they're not on town water.
Or they connect to town water.
Right,
Because
which is,
that was one
which
of
is
the
a
lines
suggestion
that
that,
was supposed to go up there.
which is a suggestion that Val had. So maybe, and this is just, we're just spitballing here, do we use some of the ARPA funds to connect that building to town water that allows them to be able to pursue and move forward with these other things? At the moment, it doesn't seem like they're going to move forward just because of the very high costs of putting something like that in to expand their building.
Well, it's,
The pipe isn't in there yet, though.
no, but
Yeah.
you can go from tonight, it was 200 and some odd dollars a foot. For-
246 or 256.
Yeah, so 250 a foot for water main. So however far they are from where that comes down and turns.
And Green Mountain Engineering did do a preliminary
Right.
plan.
They did, I remember that, because it's supposed to go up to
But then Terry
Thomas's.
Thompson
The old
passed
families,
away
the old
and
family,
it didn't
you
kind of
know,
fell through.
busybodies.
Oh,
Everyone
right.
was there, and then possibly the piece of property that we sold
Right.
for development there.
Yeah, and
Just for that
it makes
health.
sense, it makes a lot of sense to do extend it at some point, because if Stan Livingston does his housing project there, there's a whole nother batch of potential
gonna be
connections.
Farther
The other
towards
way.
the east.
East.
So closer to.
That 8-inch main that comes down over the hill,
Yeah.
pretty close to it.
Oh, that's true, right.
So that's
But
a
it'd be
couple
good to
ARPA
be
things. The last thing would be bus shelters. We've received our 2 bus shelters. They're sitting by Bristol Works, sort of on the corner of where the police station is. So I'm going to start working with Parmelo and getting the permit. We have the permit for that. That's signed by them. The only issue that I'm having is, unfortunately, placement on the green, which is the most used bus stop, and the placement of it. I'd like to place it where the little Bell building is, but talking to Reg, he'd really prefer that not to move. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. So if people have suggestions of where we could relocate that building and still keep it so it's an accessible thing that the public can look at, I'd be grateful, because we've got the 2 bus stops now, and I'd love to be able to put them in and have people use them. But I'm sort of.
I thought we were just moving that to the west.
Well, initially we weren't going to move the building was going to be moved entirely. There weren't going to be 2 buildings there. It was just having the bus stop would be in the place of the Bell building, and then we learned that the school owns or has the rights to that piece of land that the Bell building sits on. It's the building including 5 feet around it. So the school owns that, the school district. So it just got very complicated, and it's still complicated. I mean, all I want to do is get a dang bus shelter there so people can use it. And it's given that it's the most used bus stop in the town, it seems like that's the perfect opportunity to put something there. And we literally have it about a half a mile down the road. It's just the what to do with what's there. So if anyone has any good suggestions, and Tom's been very good.
The church isn't interested, right?
Church said no.
And I couldn't get more information from them, unfortunately. I was dealing with a single person who is speaking on behalf of the board, and perhaps I need to revisit them and just talk to them about the project, show them what's there, and give them a bit more detail, perhaps. And maybe I will do that.
Because right now they all stand on the steps.
Well, and that they said that they would prefer to see that. They already use the steps and they would prefer to see that. I don't know. I couldn't get more information from the board or from this person with regard to what their thinking was about that. Yeah, so if anyone has any suggestions, and again, Tom Wells has been very open and he's very interested. He says he's definitely not interested in having the 2 buildings sort of side by side, and there isn't really enough room, but maybe we can figure out a way to put it somewhere else on his property. But again, if we move the building, does the ownership of the land go with the building if we move it over 10 feet or 30 feet, and then that becomes Tom's land? I don't know. It's a real pickle. But those were my updates, and thank you.
Can you just move it like a publisher application? The whole block goes over.
Yes, kind of from
Yes.
Minecraft or something.
Can you put it on the stairs? Yeah.
Right.
Put an awning over the
Yeah,
stairs.
put it in front of the stairs and put a door in the back so you walk through it.
Put an awning over the stairs.
We're full of good
gosh.
ideas for you, Ian.
Thank you
Joel,
very
you said
much.
sorry, Joel, you said.
Yeah.
One more thing.
I've got our historian, Reg Dearborn, working on a project personally for me, and he thought it was a great idea. If you go to some of these towns, like Brandon has one on Route 7, it says we're a Purple Heart town. And Bristol has a lot of veterans that were Purple Heart. You know, I can think of 2, 3, but, so Reg is looking that up. Reg knew of 2 in the village and or in the town, and I gave him a couple other names and he's gonna check them, but trying to get a sign up coming into town that says we're a Purple Heart town.
Is there a process one has to go through
Don't know,
to
Reg.
qualify?
I've gotta stop into Brandon and ask them how they got it, but you gotta have, I mean, Rosamund Shepherd's, brother, Eddie's uncle, Ted, died in the war. My dad was shot down, but he doesn't qualify for Purple Heart because you were shot out of a plane, you weren't wounded. So, but anyway, there's, but we looked up the regulations, and I got with the Legion, and so it's just
So you
something.
got Ron involved, or the Legion involved.
Another year, maybe we'll get a sign that says we're a Purple Heart town. I just thought it was something to commend the veterans.
Yep.
Yes. That's it.
Right, Valerie, just very quickly, if folks had a chance to glance at my notes, I wanted to just bring the question up about, we received a request from a business owner on Main Street to use 2 of the parking spaces in front of their store and have, use part of the sidewalk for a promotional event on the weekend of July 7th and 8th, or one of those days, July 8th. And I wasn't sure what the protocol would be for allowing private use of the public parking spaces, and in my notes, I outlined what I think considerations. So just putting it out there at the moment. A quick update today: they're not going to be doing that this year. They feel that they didn't plan far enough ahead to do it, so they're not going to do it this year. But still, the outcome of the question, you know, if they do want to do it again next year or another time, what's the process? Is there one?
Well, I would assume it would be similar to what we did when we did the storefronts, you know, they got a.
Well, they want to actually close off the parking spots.
The parking
for just
spots,
part
but
of the
it's
day.
still gonna leave passage for pedestrians on the sidewalk. They
Yeah,
want
well, I
the
kind
whole
of agree with what
sidewalk.
Bruce said, you know, doing what wanted to do is they wanted to put vendors there. You're gonna get more people out in the
street.
road. And I think we have to be very
I mean, I
careful.
thought if they were gonna use it, I do it in Middlebury. If I need a couple of spots broken, I throw 2 cones in it, like they come to clean carpets for 2 hours in the evening. At Main Street, I throw 2 cones out there and save the spot.
But that's not gonna,
That's not gonna be people shopping around,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I got to thinking, how is it different from like a food truck that on any streets that allow food trucks and people?
Well, every Monday night, there's a lady here that's got
Yeah,
a
but
van.
she's facing the park, so they're not walking around the back.
I would imagine, and it's my bad for not getting more specific information from what they were thinking and some of the logistics, like what kind of vendors are going to be in those spots and what the orientation of the activities. So there's a lot that we just didn't know about what their proposal was.
Yeah.
To me, another factor would be, is it on, I call it the east end of the block or the west end of the block? It narrows
Right
up
in
down
front
by
of their
Snaps.
building.
It's on the west edge.
Across from the bank.
No,
That's
east,
the-
sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's essentially, it's the 2 spots outside of Art on Main.
Yeah.
Which actually, those particular spots lend themselves very well to being closed off because they're parallel versus angled. And I'm fine with it. The one thing I would say is that they would want to be very careful with the vendors and make sure that no one is standing on the roadside part of their tents. If they can design it where they're set up, they're inside the tent area, that would be better, because I'd be really concerned about people walking around the edge where cars are driving right there.
Well,
Like
and
you
I
could cone
think
it off, but I
that
wouldn't want
area-
anybody walking there.
That area, that street is too narrow there, and you know, as much as you put barricades up, signs, rope, whatever you want, people will go beyond that. And you know, I just think it's too much of a liability, especially there.
And then
You're
it is
talking
very
between
tight.
Bruce and Ian, you're talking between the crosswalk that goes there, headed west towards all the way up to Deer Lake Books. They want to.
Right in front of Deer Lake.
Yeah, it's essentially those 2 spots.
Yeah.
But Bruce is right. It does narrow there, and if you're anywhere near those spots, cars coming down are very close.
I put a photo.
I think we'd want to have it to look at it. If they really wanted to do it, we'd want to have a detailed look at it just to see.
Okay.
So
So if this comes back, what procedure would I use? Consult with the department heads and then make an administrative decision based?
Bruce says no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it would be it's a
It's
safety
gotta be
issue.
a safety, it's gotta
I
be a
think it's a
police
safety
chief make that
Yeah, okay.
call. If we-
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for
You
this,
know, if you were up
for
by,
this
It's on
particular
your
request.
head.
you know, if it was up by Simon Says,
Or,
Streets and
Well,
Water.
those are,
School
those
Street
are,
even.
Yeah.
Like,
Those
if
are
on
on
School
that
Street, those are
diagonal.
whatever,
Right.
however they're
Right.
shaped, if something is proposed there.
well, I mean, like the ones on the park, there's a lot more space
Right, right.
between where they are and
So
the main part of the
situational, in
road.
other words.
and it's not a, yeah, and it's not a.
So they
calculation.
want to do something out of the,
Outside
tied
the
in with their
building.
building?
Yeah.
And the sidewalk.
If it was up to me on Main Street, I wouldn't block any of the parking spaces off. We're limited with parking spaces. There's a lot more traffic, foot traffic crossing the street in that area. You know, when the vendors or excuse me, the construction workers are blocking it off to drop off equipment or work out of their truck, that's different. I just think that we don't have enough parking spaces as it is, and I just think, at least from my perspective, I would say no to Main Street.
I mean,
mean,
if they
what-
wanted to
what-
put a
what-
couple tables outside, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Tell them to do like we do with Tandem on the other side, talk to John Moyers and use the alleyway there.
Well, I was gonna say, don't they have an
No,
alleyway on
back-
the other side of their
the bank.
building?
Yeah.
Driveway.
Oh, but yeah, he
John
can-
Moyers will-
Yeah,
Right,
they
you
can
want-
use that.
You won't get approval from John, I'm sure, because he wants that open, but you could talk to Carol, who owns the building. I mean, she's their landlord anyway, and they could use the Art on Main side. That would be a better
Yeah.
side. So that,
Yeah.
if it
And
comes
that's
up,
a nice
that
area.
might be a suggestion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that aren't on Main side would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, it's not directly attached to the store, but it's on the other, just on the other side.
Right.
It wouldn't be a.
And it provides a nice,
Okay,
safe
it's
area.
5 more steps.
Right.
2 more minutes.
Okay, so that's all
Anything
I
else?
have.
We got any
No,
other
we did it
business
this
or
morning.
executive
We
session?
did it
No,
earlier
we're not-
this morning.
no.
This morning.
Okay, we'll
It
make a
felt
motion
like
to
this, feels
adjourn.
like this morning.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Third,
Fourth.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay,
tried to get us out of here
all.
earlier, you
Thank you.
guys.
Good night.
Good night, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Good night, Jimmy.
Thank you, everyone.